Sorry. I was just looking at Chris Rock just got punched by Will Smith. That's pretty funny. And then someone was like, the fact that an actual assault had to happen on live national television to get people to tune into Oscars is pretty hilarious. That's pretty funny though. I guess that's the scary part about doing comedy, is some people react like that. Hey, David De La Rosa with the 5 says, hi Joe, how you doing? How's Pradeep? We're good. Is this music too loud? I feel like it's gotten louder as time has gone on. I had like a set thing, but
Hey, listen.
Anyways, you were worried about me. Why were you worried about me? Oh, am I starting later than normal? It was staged and planned. Yeah, I mean, it has to be. You know what I mean? Like, nobody gives a shit about the Oscars anymore. Or nobody watches it based on ratings that you can look at. And like, right, Oscars had no clue. Yeah, you had no clue until someone got punched in the face. It's almost like I don't know, like a metaphor. Like, you don't give a shit about something till it hits you. Never watched the Oscars. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't, like, I'll watch movies, but I mean, I've been kind of like less and less interested in Hollywood as time has gone on, and you know, to the extent that I can like sit there and watch people like sort of circle jerk each other in their little tight-knit group about like who's the best at pretending. You know what I mean? Thought I was late for the stream. How dare you prove me wrong? No, you're right on time, baby. But anyways, I probably shouldn't have watched that clip right before streaming, even though it doesn't fucking matter. But something about seeing people get hit or like fighting, like physical fighting, or really any fighting, it just makes my stomach like turn in knots. It's like some sort of weird visceral response. Everything else takes a backseat, especially the Oscars. I feel like I was streaming last Oscars too. LA and Hollywood is overrated. I mean, I can imagine so. I mean, I can't like, there's a part of me that like thought about earlier because I, you know, was getting that sound booth studio sort of set up. Which, by the way, if anybody here has any knowledge on like soundproofing a room and that kind of thing, I'm all ears, because basically it's under the steps. It's like you go into a room under the steps. It's a pretty small room, but it like angles down. The drywall like angles down to the floor. Well, like angles till it reaches a point and then it goes straight down. But like when you first walk in, even though everything seems as if though it's pretty soundproofed, for the most part, it like, there's a lot of like bassiness in the drywall above where the stairs would be, and it's just like, it's weird. It's like when I'm standing, it's really apparent, but then when I sit down on like a stool and like try to record that way, it actually doesn't sound too bad. But at the same time, I'm just like not really sure. Swook, With the two says, have you done collab with Lazy? I have, yeah, some UK stories, various other ones. There is soundproof foam that goes on walls. Yeah, so basically just imagine that whole room is just like kitted from head to toe in that shit. Like I really went pretty strong on it. I mean, the door could probably use some more thing, but I've got like what they call like movers blankets. I'm gonna try to put that maybe in and create like another sort of layer. So basically Joel sounds like Barry White. Yeah, yes Lord I do. Stephanie's doing all right, Jolene is doing fine, and Stephanie's womb so far now all is well. Let's go. Great. We always appreciate the Stephanie and womb updates. Have you tried carpeting the stairs? You know, that's one thing I ordered too, was like to put some carpet like material onto the stairs. Have you ever done a face reveal? I have not. No. Excited for tonight's stream. Well, welcome. We got some kidnapping stories tonight. If you beautiful people could share the stream out with your friends and click like button right now, that'd be awesome. Wilhelm Schmidt. It's always funny, like on your shirts, you like feel around and you're like, what the hell is this? And it's like, do they just have like a random extra button available for you should you lose one of them? You love this jazz? Well, you can have complete access to it in the members only section, along with secure, contain, protect stories and many others. Also, what kind of stories you guys think for April? You mean the stairs are bare on the other side? They are. They are wooden stairs on the other side. So I can imagine it's like wood and then like, you know, some sort of hollow area between the drywall and stuff. What's wrong with you that you love kidnapping stories? Maybe you just really want to be stolen. What up, Hanny? What's poppin'? Cult stories. Oh yeah, those would be good. But I almost feel like that would be good for a normal video. Possession stories. April Fools. Gone wrong. Gone snexual. You got all your merch this weekend? And oh, heck yeah, Carly. Somebody, I got tagged on Twitter with some merch. I wanted to share that here soon. What was the joke that Chris Tucker said about Will Smith's wife? Because I would like to know if it was funny. Joe, did you hear that about the missing woman in Fallon, Nevada 2 weeks ago? Police arrested a male possible suspect still missing kid. Didn't hear about it, no. I don't really follow, I guess, like too many of that kind of stuff. Do you like J. Cole? Yeah, there's some J. Cole songs that really stuck with me that I enjoy. But honestly, if I had to think of them offhand, I honestly probably wouldn't remember. Scary hooker stories. You can't call them that anymore. You have to say, ladies of the cold evening. He called her G.I. Jane because she has a bald head. Oh, I hope it wasn't because of like cancer or anything like that. He said they're coming out with G.I. Jane too. Yeah, I guess that was kind of out of left field a little bit, you know what I mean? Because scary price story, yeah. Scary inflating prices. It was me who tagged. Oh, nice. Amapola. I keep wanting to say like a mop. Ladies of the moon. Ladies of the wet evening. Working girls. What about, don't they, isn't it called like escorts? Isn't I always like substitute the word escorts because someone got really mad at me in here for one time whenever someone who wrote a story, they used the word prostitute. They were quite upset about that one. Will Smith's wife has alopecia, which makes like there's like multiple layers there into which that would probably be like if this was a roast, you know what I mean, like the roast of Will Smith or something like that, and then you dove into that would make sense. But I feel like within the Oscars, you almost have to be more tactful, especially like I don't even know if his wife is an actress, is she, or does she act? I don't know. Are you now including this 20 minutes of talking and chats with the podcast stories? I am not. No, these are just in the playlist of live streams. This is, the live streams just kind of stay together. Mexican brujera stories? What's a brujera? I've never heard of that. April stories of conspiracies. Yeah, what kind of conspiracies you guys want to hear about? Hey, Joel, started writing a novel. This stream is just what I needed for support. Oh, nice. Well, best of luck diving into that. I've always been curious, like what people's methods are for, writing a novel. You really like the soundtrack as a good vibe? Oh, yeah. You can dive into it. I think I labeled the names of the songs on the members only playlist as well, so you can find that. Will Smith's wife is an actor. Oh, okay. But I do kind of like respect. I mean, it kind of takes you back with the Will Smith thing, like to where, I don't know, somebody dishonors their lady, and you take off the glove and you go up and challenge them to a duel. I challenge you to a duel. Do you have any good Monster Hunter stories? Like the video game Monster Hunter. My friends play that, but I never really gave it a fair shot. I feel like, it's really cool. The graphics are insane, and there's a lot of like really unique experiences, it seems. I could read about anything and make it scary. Will Smith ascended the Oscar stage after Chris Tucker said a very unsavory joke about his wife's haircut. It's Spanish for witch. Oh, okay. Any more creepy emails to the Cess fan? No, thankfully. But I've said before, I think it was just like a troll who really just, because some people like, I feel like I've come to from being kind of an online person or whatever, an e-boy, I've come to the realization that a lot of people try to get your attention through like negative stuff, you know what I mean? Like, say they want your attention just normally and they don't get it. Like the concept in their mind is that like the best way to get your attention is to do it through like a really convoluted, nonsensical, negative way, which, in this circumstance would be like typing up a relatively well-written stalker, note. I was like, what is that? Pradeep's like knocking around plates. Also, I got an orchid plant. I don't know how exciting that is. It's probably the scariest story I've heard you tell. Yeah, right. Yeah, it definitely feels personal. But I'd also gotten other stuff from other people, like during the summer when I took like a little bit of a break there from streaming and stuff. And I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little bit like maybe I'm just desensitized towards it all at this point. I'm just like, whatever. People are nuts. I did super well in biology midterm, so this right way as heck. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. You mean orchid? Well. Yeah, orchid. What did I say? Orchid? Orchard? An orchard. Yeah, I bought an orchard. Got a whole ass thing of fucking apples ready to rock and roll. I'm gonna give up YouTube and streaming and podcasting and go just be a farmer. You should name the orchid Vega. I think the brightest star in the Lyra constellation is blue and white too. Well, this one's what did we? Someone named it on Twitter. I forget what the heck we named it though. Lazuli. Lazuli, I think is her name. Am I still doing the keto thing? Honestly, not really. Like, I feel like I do like lazy keto when it comes to like different stuff, but to be honest with you, not really. And I don't even know. Like, I almost like wonder from like doing keto for a period of time and then going back to normal, if it like may or may not have like messed up my hormones or anything like that. Do I ever have trouble being in a Zen state? Oh, hell yeah, dude. Every second of my life is just chaos in my brain. A farmer of shrooms. Yeah, I think they do that with what the hell are they? The Amish. I don't know, I didn't remember their name. I think the Amish harvest mushrooms. I don't know if they harvest the psychedelic ones though. That would be interesting though, the Amish getting like spiritually high as fuck. An orchid is good for air quality and stress. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know much about like plants and stuff, but I saw it at the grocery store and it was pretty, and I'm like, someone, you guys have told me to get plants, so I'm like, well, you might as well try it. As long as you're feeling all right and balanced, that's the best thing. Yeah, I don't feel like, I see a lot of people, especially on social media, they seem like they go through a lot of tough shit, you know what I mean? Like, whether it stems from like a tough childhood or just like where they're at in life, I look at myself comparatively and I feel very thankful, you know what I mean? And I feel like sometimes that's the best way to kind of stay grounded in life, is just to be thankful for what you do have, you know what I mean? And then it kind of keeps you from getting too wild in your own mind. And I find it so, I was thinking about that, before, or I was just like, Pradeep doesn't really like think in his mind and then go crazy, you know what I mean? He doesn't like arrive at a state of just like dissatisfaction in his mind and just go absolutely kind of like bonkers. But I was thinking in my mind, I'm like, I could ruminate in my own brain for long enough to the point where I could like drive myself crazy. And I was just thinking like how unique humans are in that fact, where like it's almost like our own selves is what drives us to like our sort of own self-destruction. It's very strange. Did you find the worm from last stream? I didn't. No, I have no idea where he ended up, but I hope he's living a happy life. Though it did drop down to, he's probably not doing too well outside if he is outside, because it's like freaking in the 20s now. Hey, Ryan with the $10 rein says, love your work, Joy. Listen over and over. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. For some reason, I like couldn't hear that in the background, but maybe it's because of the music, but it sounded kind of cool. Pradeep created a force field that banished the worm forever. Yeah, probably. He probably just ate it. Have I played Elden Ring? No, but I've seen a shit ton of it just from the memes and from friends playing it. And yeah, he opened up a wormhole, went straight through, back to his people. That would be kind of cool if there were just like small, insignificant creatures that had like abilities that were just bafflingly insane. MT with the 5 says, do I get the honors of the first dono of the night? Love you, Joe. Oh, thank you, MT. That goes to Mr. De La Rosa. He was one of the first to donate, but still, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Always appreciate you guys. We got another half a minute here before we kick off the stories. We got 5 kidnapping stories, 2 of them being true crime related. You have any cool hobbies or weird talents? for a while, like YouTube was my like hobby, you know what I mean? And now it just seems like, you know, aside from trying to like continue to advance that as far as it can go, you know, I work out and play video games and hang out with friends and just go do that kind of stuff. But I really do need to dive into a newer hobby. But right now, this like getting that one room like soundproofed has become kind of a fun little hobby. It's like, I don't know, it's kind of satisfying to see it all come together. These better be scary. I hope so. Me too. It's been 80s, gorgeous night. 80s, where do you live? Well, you don't have to say that, but seriously, I'm jealous. I keep thinking, I'm like, why am I wasting my life in Pennsylvania with the cold when there's so many other places in the world you could just exist and every day would be like a summer day for you. All right, my friends. We're going to switch to spooky mode. Once again, thanks for being here. Always appreciate you guys and your kindness. And yeah. Whatever you use to soundproof, make sure it ain't a fire hazard. Well, that's the cool thing, because since it's a closet, there really isn't like any outlets or anything like that. I actually have like a mobile setup where it's like a microphone on a tripod, but then there's an H5N is being used as like the mixer or the interface, you know what I mean, to record into. And that's kind of one of my issues too right now, is just like once I get rid of that reverb, which I hope I do, I really do hope that I do, because I don't want that whole room to just be for nothing, you know what I mean? But I'm hoping once I get rid of that reverb that I also have to focus on how to find the perfect setup, I guess, like in settings on the interface and microphone or whatever, to at least to do essentially professional voiceover stuff from home. You know, but you don't want to be in Texas right now. Is it just too hot? Been snowing today in part of Pennsylvania. Yeah, it snowed here too. A little bit of a light dusting, but with the 5 finger say to the face, slap. It's the shape of the room. Right, yeah, like I honestly didn't even think about that, like the fact that it, you know, angles downwards creates like a huge corner, you know, behind me. But I'm also wondering if the door is involved as well. There was a funny part in one of the podcasts where a girl was 5 foot and the man was following her, and you read that he was at least half her size. Oh, interesting. He was at least, but he was. I guess that is true though. Do you use compressor and limited? I don't know. I'm not even sure. Like a compressor microphone. It's a Newman. I recently got it. Hey Joel, my friend suggested you start streaming at 9:37 p.m. You know, that would be ideal. I should have honestly earlier, but I was just like messing around with that room so much to like let time get away from me. But anyways, what do you guys say? Let's read a bit of a story. One of them there spooky stories. Bass traps, yeah. So that's what I ordered, was some bass traps. And I mean, but I'm wondering, like, should a bass trap go like up on the ceiling, like right at the door, you know, in the corner area of like where the door meets the slanted wall kind of thing? You know, I just wonder if, or should it just literally go in like the side corners kind of thing? I don't know. David with the 2 says, I always want to ask you, Apple or Android? Oh, well, I do Apple, yeah. But now it's like, I just do it because of the familiarity, and it was like my first sort of smart device thing. But it sucks because I guess I heard that Apple is going to be switching over soon to like a subscription sort of process where you don't ever really like outright own your phone, which I think is, I don't know, that just sucks, man. Like, of course that's just going to be how they're going to milk you for years and years. Man milk. Yes, they can go to the ceiling on the corner. Yes, Joe, there is a good spot for him. You might need ceiling corner and side corner. Okay. Do you have any... Okay, thank you, Lo-Fi. I appreciate that. I'm gonna, yeah, definitely gonna try some stuff, and I really do hope it gets rid of it. Amanda with says, do you have any recommendations for gym beginners who are shy? Well, I really do believe heavily in good form, obviously, and whenever you're new, you don't really want to just like go in there and watch YouTube videos and figure it out. Like it's really important to have somebody that can walk you through with how things look, how it feels, how to do blah blah blah. So like basically I would just really highly suggest, if you can afford it, or if you can find a way to do it, even if just for a period of time, get someone to make you a program for what they want you to do at the gym, and then have that, like, hopefully personal trainer or whatever take you through the workouts for like a couple weeks or whatever until you're really comfortable with the form and the process. And because, you know what I mean, like, you don't want to get in there and just like set up bad habits for years, just years and years of just like just bad form. So, and it's also for your own safety too, because you don't want to like throw your back out. What's up, Gabby? Don't forget to like the cast. Heck yeah. Oh wow, we're almost at 400 people. Yeah, might as well read something, huh? I've been a fan of your YouTube channel since those lockdowns of 2020, and I was stuck in my house with very little to do. This story took me a while to write, and as much of an... Oops. Althea with the 10 says, are you using an omnidirectional or unidirectional mic? And think about how a trumpet is shaped. If the room is shaped similar, it will funnel different sounds, bass, mids, treble. Oh, okay, that would make sense, because yeah, there'd be like no sound down at the corner area, but then, or like down at the bottom corner where the slanted roof hits, but then at the exit near the door, it would almost like come out like a trumpet, I guess, Huh. I've got some moving, what the fuck are they called? Moving blankets. I'm really hoping that sort of like does it along with the bass traps. But thank you for the 10, Althea. And Kayler's Aquatics and Exotics with the 5 says, I want to check out the new Tesla phones coming out. Tesla phones. Interesting. Yeah, that'll be fascinating. Oh, the twerking. The story took me a while to write, as I'm not much of an author, and this is quite painful for me to relate, but for me to relate. This story took me a while to write, as I'm not much of an author, and this is quite painful for me to relay, but I hope you fit it in somewhere, as it's something I've wanted to share. Dude, I need to warm up. I love when people start out the story specifically dedicated to you. Oh, thank you, Claire. Yeah, I mean, that's how pretty much a lot of them start out. Everyone's very appreciative. Adriana with the 1, thank you. This story took me a while to write, as I'm not much of an author, and this is quite painful for me to relay. But I hope you can fit it in somewhere, as it's something I've wanted to share with you for quite some time. It involves 2 days in my life that I always thought were fun, but weird, and how when I grew up and was told what really happened, have haunted me ever since. It started when my dad's business partner came to pick me up from school. I knew him as Uncle Todd, and although I wasn't expecting him, I trusted him when he told me that my mom and dad were busy and that he was in charge of looking after me for a few days. I remember feeling a kind of... Althea with the 2 says, put the blanket on the stairs while recording. Okay, so you think like... Because I was worried, I was thinking like maybe it's the space in between the stairs and the... But do you think the reverberation will be halted if there's some sort of fabric on the stair area, the staria? You know, between the hollow space and where I am, and then where the stairs are. I don't know. It's interesting. But thank you. Yeah, it's a good idea. And I got a few of them, so hopefully it makes a difference. And Adriana with another $1. Thank you. Which of the two weapons are worse than the older one? Is it the... Nice. Remove the stairs. Guys, we gotta get rid of the stairs. Just rip them off. It just like opens a hole above me. Ah! You said you wanted to remove it. I remember feeling kind of reluctant to get into his car, and Mom and Dad hadn't told me anything about it, and I didn't really want to be away from them. But he started promising me ice cream, a Game Boy, all this other fun stuff, saying Mom and Dad had said I could watch whatever I wanted on TC, and that... What's TC? Well, maybe they meant TV, because they're right next to each other on the keyboard. God damn it, man. I've made like 900 mistakes, like, instantaneously. Jacob with a 1. Thank you, my friend. 100. Trying to keep it 100. Tesla phones convert into electric cars 2-in-1. Yeah, you can drive them around. I remember when one friend's phone would, like, open up, like, slide open, and we always thought it would be like a skateboard. Oh, shit. A mapala. Ampola. A mop. A wild mop has donated $30. With the $30 Renos and the twerkable amount right there. It says, hoping this triggers the first twerk of the night. If not, I want to say thanks for the weekly live streams. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amapola. Sorry. Thank you so much, though. Seriously. Jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. I do be jiggling. You can build a wall to get rid of the stairs. Yeah, we're gonna have to... I'm gonna have to just build a brick wall. Okay, what I'll do is I'll climb in there. You guys just put bricks all around me. And I'll never be able to escape, and I'll just, like, forever record anime voices. If I could choose a country to live in, what country would it be? This one. The United States of America. I'm very content here. But he started promising me ice cream, a Game Boy, all this other fun stuff, saying Mom and Dad had said I could watch whatever I wanted on TV and that I was allowed to stay up until whenever. Sorry, guys. I think my brain is just in the goddamn pussy clouds right now, man. Brett with the 5 says, love from Ohio, man. Thank you, Brett. Appreciate it. Get my nerves all shattered and jattered here. But he started promising me ice cream, a Game Boy, all this other fun stuff, saying Mom and Dad had said I could watch whatever I wanted on TV and that I was allowed to stay up until whenever I liked. Music to a kid's ear, right? So I got into his car and we drove off to his apartment, stopping to get some ice cream on the way. Todd was serious about the TV thing too, as he pretty much left me in his apartment on my own for hours on end. I remember he seemed pretty stressed about something, but I just assumed it was like grown-up stuff or something, and I didn't really care much because I had all the Nickelodeon and McDonald's I could ever want, so I didn't think too much about it. That's how I spent the first night, and although it was also weird to me that Uncle Todd's apartment was so small that we both had to sleep in the same room, I still didn't really question anything because he was a regular part of my life and I trusted him. Then, the next day, after more McDonald's and a bunch more Nickelodeon, Uncle Todd comes back all super stressed again and tells me to go get into the bathtub. I thought he meant that I could take a bath or whatever, but that's not what he meant, as he walked me over to the bathtub and made me get inside it without any water in it, and without taking any of the clothes. Whoops. Is Daddy home? It's time for Daddy's push-ups. Oh God, Daddy's home push-ups. Yeah, how many push-ups are we on right now? Did we forget to do it last stream? Might have to do an extra one. How many? 420 people listening, baby. It puts the lotion on the skin. I thought he meant that I could take a bath or whatever, but that's not what he meant, as he walked me over to the bathtub and made me get inside it without any water in it and without taking any of my clothes off. I can then hear talking into the phone in the other room, trying to keep his voice down, but I could hear how angry and stressed he seemed to be at someone. But eventually he goes quiet, puts the phone down, and comes to get me out of the tub. I remember him putting me back on the bed. I don't know. Normally I can like cruise, but I'm not cruising right now with my reading. 10 push-ups to start. Well, I don't think we were too many. Weren't we at like 21? Oh, we're at 21. 21? What's that mean? 21? All right. 21 Daddy's Home push-ups. When Daddy's home, you got to do them. Is anybody going to do them with me? Who's going to do them with me? Raise your hand. Anyways. And say hypothetically you can't do them. You just do, your knees or whatever. I don't fucking know. But, you then we'll just slowly move up over a period of time. But we're going for 21. Let's get it. Let's get it, fam. Can you still hear me? I'm down on the ground. On my knees, but now I'm on my push-up position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Hey, listen. Holy shit. That was not as easy as I thought it was going to be. It's not terrible, but at the same time, I can imagine as we get along, I'm probably going to fail. DSTMO with the 1. Thank you, my friend. Wonder if I'm actually doing them. Yeah, I'm just like down there, like fucking making noises. Holy shit. I'm not even doing push-ups. I'm just like eating donuts. 1, 2. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't easy. Lo-fi, you did them? Hell yeah, let's go. The breathing making me thirsty. I'm fucking thirsty. Eating Oreos, yeah. Like M&Ms. Oh, shit. I'm already out of breath. Yeah, I don't really do cardio as much as I used to. It's mainly just lifting and stuff now, so I get my ass kicked by literally anything. Dude, the worst is this one machine at the gym is called a hack squat. And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's basically just a squatting machine, but you're fucking logged in, you're in a goddamn Gundam warrior suit. And I have to do 20 to 30 reps on the one fucking thing. And God, after I do that, it literally feels like I just did CrossFit. It makes me die. It's hard to speak during. I only did 6 at the same time, and I'm slightly winded too. That's okay. Next time you'll do 7, and I'll do 22. But someone's got to remember, because I will not. Your chest is tight. Oh yeah, well, make sure no one has a heart attack. I don't want to be liable. Can I say Avengers? Assemble. Do I like caramel? Oh yeah. Good shit. What's those ones where it's caramel with the white shit in the middle? I feel like there's the little candies, but then there's the cow tails. Those cow tails are good as fuck. Your mom made some killer banana bread. There's no recovering from that. Yeah. I would eat all that. I would just shove my hand in the banana bread. I love banana bread. Will I ever do a face reel? Please answer. Um, I was trying to think of like if I were to do anime voicing, like just hypothetically. I keep thinking this out, but the more you think it, and the more you make the moves to make it happen, maybe it will happen. But I was thinking like, I wonder if there's a way for me to avoid showing my face during that. You know what I mean? Squat thrusters to make me feel OP. I'm overpowered. Caramel nougats. Yeah, those are good. You tried squats at the gym once and I almost couldn't stand back up. Never doing that again. No, you got to keep going. That's like the first week is the hardest one as far as your soreness, but then you get used to it. And it'll still suck, but you just got to do it. And squats are like good for you in so many different things. It's like the one exercise that like releases all the human growth hormone. Anyways. I remember him putting me back on the bed and telling me he was going to get more McDonald's and ice cream for me. But then as he went to walk out of the room, he picked up this pokey-looking thing in his hand to obviously take it out to his car. I remember asking him, "Uncle Todd, what's that?" And he told me it was the thing for getting his car started on cold mornings. I remember it wasn't even that cold that morning, or the morning before, but hey, at that age, grown-ups know best, right? Fuck, the breathing I feel like kind of fucked me up. Holy shit. Can you say it's over 9,000? Kakarot. 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 It's over 9,000! Yeah, it's hard to do the Vegeta voice. I have to, like, hear it. Kakarot. 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 No, I can't hit it. Lube the lungs. Are your arms muscly? Wouldn't you like to know? Okay. I remember asking, "Uncle Todd, what's that?" And he told me it was a thing for getting his car started on cold mornings. I remember it wasn't even that cold that morning, or the morning before, but hey, at that age, grown-ups know best, right? Anyways, a few hours later, he drives me back to my parents' place, and they gave him a present for looking after me while they were gone. Mom and Dad seemed really happy to see me, but I was really happy to see them too. They said they missed me and I missed them a bunch too, so I didn't really think any further into it than that. It was only when I was grown up that I was told what actually happened. You see, Uncle Todd and Dad were... Have a hot drink. Yeah, it's just like, I feel like I'm bad at like maintaining my breath with reading anyways. Imagine if your cam was on, we could see you. I don't have a cam actually, so it's kind of a good thing. I don't know, I really wouldn't want to show my face, honestly. I just feel like people like hyperfixate on faces, and I don't really feel like hyperfixating on my face would be like the point of the stream. You already have a leg up in terms of voice acting. I'm sure it'd be relatively easy to snag some roles. Yeah, that'd be fun. At least like I could say like I could promote it on my YouTube or something. Hey guys, I'm gonna be in Ketsuko's Little Big Adventure with Squimmy starring Pigman. I'm gonna be the voice of Squimmy and Pigman.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Oh my god. I love eating corn. Oh.
See? That's Squimmy. That's not Pigman, that's Squimmy. You see, Uncle Todd and my dad really were business partners, but my dad wasn't exactly a good or honest person. He'd actually stolen a bunch of money from their business right under Todd's nose, and had tried to What is this word? Let me just tweak. Let me just say tweak. They'd actually stolen a bunch of money from their business right under Todd's nose, And he'd actually tried to rearrange some accounting things so that Todd wouldn't notice. But Todd did notice, and Todd was really angry about it. But when he told my dad to give it back or he was going to call the cops, my dad told him that he'd already spent the money, and if he called the cops and got him thrown in jail, he was never going to get it back. Pretty scummy, I know, but my dad is generally a pretty awful person, so we won't go into that too much. But either way, Todd turned out to be way more of a psycho than my dad could have possibly figured, because instead of calling the cops and actually getting him arrested, he came up with another plan to get his money back. That's how he ended up showing up at my school and convincing me to get into his car. So another little aspect of this story, my dad actually begged Todd not to go to the cops, hence why he basically threw out that threat like that. Would be a hell of a boss. Should be on hell of a boss. What's that about? See, I'm gonna have to watch a bunch of animes. I feel like I don't watch enough animes. I've seen them, but I need to watch more to understand the nuances. Sounds like Mr. Piggyton. Does pig impression? Let's get right back to the story, yeah. So, another little aspect of the story, my dad actually begged Todd not to go to the cops, hence why he basically threw out that threat that, if he did, he was never going to get the money back. He tried to give Todd all these promises that he'd pay him back and get all squared off, but Todd just didn't believe him. He wanted his money back, and he wanted it soon, so he took me, let my mom and dad sweat it out for a day, and basically told them that if they didn't come up with the money in like 24 hours, that he was going to kill me. Not exactly the best plan, but like I said, Todd was way more of a psycho than anyone could have possibly imagined. He fed me McDonald's, gave me ice cream, and let me watch as much cable as I wanted, just to keep me from leaving what turned out to be a motel room. That's why, for the longest time, I just thought motels were places that people actually lived, and not places where people would rent a room only for a few days or whatever. But then there's the whole bathtub thing. Todd put me in the bathtub that day and brought an ice pack into the motel room because he was going to torture with me. Need mouth to mouth. Breathing exercise you can do to make your breathing better. No, it was just because I did daddy's push-ups. You see, sir, it was because I did daddy's push-ups, you know. Todd put me in the bathtub that day and brought an ice pack into the motel room because he was going to torture me with it while making my parents listen on the phone. That was what made them break, and they ended up selling a bunch of stuff and doing other shady stuff in order to get like 10 grand's worth of cash together in the space of almost a day. When they called to say that they had the money, Todd took me back home, took the cash, which I thought was just a gift for taking care of me, and then we never saw him again. Mom and Dad got a divorce not long after, which was sad, but a few of my friends' parents had gotten divorces too, so I knew it was a thing that moms and dads did. I had no idea it was all because of the stealing and kidnapping thing. It was also because Dad basically refused to go to the cops about what had happened because he was too scared of going to jail, that she just completely resented him for that. She also told me that he told him that if she tried to press charges against Todd, that he was going to tell the cops that she was in on the accountancy scam or whatever, and that she would end up catching charges as well. I always kind of doubted that part of it though, as surely she could just prove that she didn't have anything to do with it and it was all my dad being a scumbag. Sometimes I think she was actually part of it, and that's why she didn't just go to the cops right away when she found out that Todd had taken me. I mean, think about it. Why not report me missing straight away unless she had a good idea of what was going on and who had taken me? A lot about her side of the story doesn't add up, but since I don't see my dad anymore and Mom is like the only member of my immediate family that I'm close to, I don't really want to confront her on it too much. So yeah, that's the story of my super messed up family, and how one of the weirdest, most fun times of my childhood turned out to be something completely horrible and kind of traumatic. It seems all the scarier to me now because I had no idea what was happening to me at the time, and something that seemed innocent but kind of unusual could have turned into something out of a living nightmare, with my Uncle Todd doing all kinds of evil stuff with that ice pack, making me scream into the phone for my parents to hear. For a while, I wanted to actually confront Todd about what had happened, but we found out that he had actually died in a car accident maybe 10 years ago now, so there's not going to be any real closure for me on that front. And like I said, I don't want to go ruining my relationship with my mother, not when I'm not sure how long I even have her left. Hey, Celia with the 10 says, hey Joel, thanks for being an awesome content creator, for loving and respecting your fans' community so much. Gracias. Oh, thank you, Celia. Yeah, I'm excited to promote that that merch. I really appreciate you for making that, because that was amazing, honestly. Gabby with the 5 says, thank God for Let's Read, because I've been watching the Oscars smack on repeat all over social media. That shit was wild. Yeah, did he smack him or did he punch him? Was it just like a slap to the face, or was it like an actual punch? But I guess it worked how it's supposed to, because it gets people talking about it. They're tuning in. They're like, oh, maybe there would be a full-on brawl. That would be hilarious. And Jacob, thank you for the 1, my friend. Thank you. Yeah, Will Smith should start up his rapping career again. You know. Or no, he should have said, after he slapped him, he's like, or no, he should have said it like an A, like should have powered it up. He's like, ah, Big Willie style. And then he does a Big Willie style smack. Maybe he did yell, did he yell Big Willie style? Anybody got the video? I think he did yell Big Willie style right before he hit. Can't confirm though. I don't want to start rumors. And like I said, I don't want to go ruining my relationship with my mother, not when I'm not sure how long I even have left with her. Anyways, I hope this wasn't too tough to read. Like I said, I'm not much of knowledge, so I'm not even sure how I explain this. Come across, it explains how scary messed up is for you. It's not like I actually got hurt or anything, and it's my dad partner just total assholes rather than thank you for your cool videos you put on. Thanks for taking time to read my email. All the best. Okay. Vegeta's big bang attack, yeah. Come right here. For a while, I wanted to actually confront Todd about what had happened, but we found out that he died in a car accident maybe 10 years ago now, so there's not going to be any real closure for me on that front. And like I said, I don't want to go ruining my relationship with my mom, not when I'm not really sure how long I even have left with her. Apparently Chris Rock was trying to eat Will Smith's wife's name. Like, you've heard of Snorlax, how like he puts his opponents to sleep and then eats their dreams? Well, you see Chris Rock just unhinges his jaw and eats people's wives' names. Hence why Will Smith said, keep my wife's name out of your mouth. But I had no idea that Chris Rock was some sort of ethereal being that absorbs the identities of his victims. It's crazy. It's crazy what you don't realize is going on in Hollywood. Galaxia with the 10 says, my daughter stole my charger so my phone might die, but want to still show my support always to the cult, smooches, or something. That's dumb, but there it is. I embrace Helen. No, it's okay. Smooches all the way. Thank you, Galaxia. Thank you. Yeah, and smooches is not lame. Everybody wants smooches. But then Will Smith knocked that name directly out of his mouth, and it fell. I don't know if you saw it. I think it's on video. I could see the name flying out of his mouth back over to his wife's sort of aura. She absorbed it back. You need to go fund me. Keep Let's Read Anonymous. I don't really... I don't know if that's like something you really need to pay money to make happen, you know what I mean? My roommate told me it was Kevin Hart first. He almost... Yeah, you go look at it. Kevin Hart again. Kevin Hart strikes again. That'd be fun. Yeah. Or I don't even know. It'd be funny if it... never mind. Just keep thinking of funny scenarios, but we all know that it's truly some sort of ancient magic going on. Alright, so next story. Here we go. I wanted to tell you the story of a friend of mine named Angel. Angel is 19 and was honestly one of the brightest, cleverest, most bubbly people I've ever met. She was obsessed with true crime stuff and would have loved your channel if she'd ever had a chance to see your videos. She loved that TV program, CSI, and wanted to join the police too. She could. Amanda with the 2 cents. Your story's really stuck with you. Thank you for the 2, by the way.
Hey, listen.
I mean, pretty much any of the true crime stuff that involves kids, it's just like really hard to, I don't know, contemplate. Like if you have kids of your own, you know what I mean? Like that would just be the worst nightmare scenario of all time. Just very, very sad stuff like that. But yeah, I've kind of just tried to disassociate from all that kind of stuff to just kind of look at it differently, I suppose. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Are Oscars movie or TV? Yeah, Oscars is movies, I believe. Playing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands with this one. Yeah, how is that Tiny Tina game? Is that just like Borderlands, pretty much, or? Also, why do you think they named it Tiny Tina's Wonderlands? I feel like if you're trying to like drum up excitement for a new shooting game, like, you know, if all the boys are like, yo bro, you jumping on Tiny Tina's? Yo bro, we're all jumping. Yo, get on Tiny Tina's right now. What's the worst job interview I ever had? You know, every job I've ever interviewed at, I had gotten. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't really like a bad thing for me, I guess. The Tiny Tina game sucks. Lots of people want their money back. Oh, that's sad. I thought that it was like a fucking Borderlands thing, or like in one of those ones you wouldn't expect to be good, but then it's pretty sweet. Yeah, someone should edit those cartoon like stars or birds flapping around Chris Tucker's face. That'd be funny. Is Hawk here? Yeah, Hawk's in the building. It's a full game based off of DLC from the second Borderlands. Oh, okay, so it's just is it from the same company, or wait, it's Gearbox, right? Right? Did Borderlands make Gearbox? I guess that's why the graphics would be similar. Servers have been asked, but it plays like Borderlands game, but it's different. I enjoy it. Okay, interesting. Well, you just rolled up on Nesbit. Pretty much I just read spooky stories and chat with the chat. Chitty chat, chitty chat. Your friend tried to get me to buy that Tiny Tina game and I didn't buy it. Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like one you might as well wait till, you know, it goes on sale. Like, I feel like that way pretty much with every game anymore, especially nowadays where games release and they're like half finished. She loved that TV program, CSI, and wanted to join the police so that she could get into the forensic side of investigations. She loved the idea of using science to catch horrible criminals, but we never thought that she'd end up being the victim of one. She had everything going for her in life, but then she met her ex-boyfriend, Che, and we all saw her She had everything going for her in life, but then she met her ex-boyfriend, Che, and we all saw a change in her. Che made everything about him, and he abused Angel physically and mentally until she made everything about him too. She was miserable with him, but kept talking like she was just a tortured soul who needed a girl like her in his life to help fix him. She was miserable with him, but kept talking like he was just a tortured soul who needed a girl like her in his life to help fix him. We had to intervene time and time again to get her to see that he was a scumbag who'd never be any good for anyone, as he was only ever interested in himself. And it took ages to do it, but we finally managed to convince her to leave him. She told us all in a group chat that she'd finally told him that they couldn't be together anymore, and we were all so proud of her. But she also said that she was terrified of something he'd do to get back at her for it, and as much as we knew her that... Sorry, I keep like preemptively seeing words that aren't there, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of fucking annoying. God damn it. I can't tell if I want to make this text bigger or smaller. Like, to fit in my, like, scope of vision. You're gonna get it on sale, that's how I feel about every game, too. Yeah, you just, like, you never know anymore. And then... I don't know. It is kind of nice that, like, on what's it called, Steam, you can play a game for like an hour or 2 hours and get a refund if you don't like it. Because I got this one game. It was really cool looking. It was. I think I told you it was called Tunic, I think, and it was basically. I thought it was just gonna be a chill like Zelda style game, maybe like Hyper Light Drifter or something. But it just, as soon as the game started out, it was like basically like, because I was trying to get away from like Dark Souls-esque games, because I'm not like a fan of Dark Souls games. They're just like too hard. I like the story, I like the settings, but they're just too hard and they're not like really enjoyable, and a lot of times they just feel repetitive and unfair. And I know a lot of people say, well, just get good, but it's like, well, I don't really care enough to get good because it's not really that fun at baseline, so I just don't give a shit. But then I've got this game called Tunic, and I thought it was going to be a cute little fun puzzle slash Zelda style game or something. But then it was literally an isometric Dark Souls game, but with like the aesthetic of Animal Crossing mixed with Zelda, which is fine, and I'm sure some people enjoy that. But I was just so frustrated because there's so many aspects of those games that kind of feel unfair, like, or even just the smaller enemies can mess you up, like. There's not really a lot of health, so it's like you constantly, I don't know, it's all just seems like it's momentum based, and if you make one mistake along the row, you got to go all the way back to the beginning of like some particular checkpoint, and it's just, to me, it just gets really, really old. Joel, do some gameplays, and I just couldn't. I really couldn't. There's like no video games that I enjoy enough. I mean, maybe like a horror game. I've done that for streams before, but I also like don't really think a lot of people would tune in to watch the horror games, to be honest. Gaming with Joel. I would rage too hard. Who's my favorite WWE wrestler? For me, that would be Triple H. I like Eric Bugenhagen. Do you know him? The Bugs. He's my man. A short hike is a good, cute exploration game. Takes a handful of hours to play. Yeah, those little ones are fun. But I also like sort of a little bit of engaging combat. You know, I really liked Hyper Light Drifter. I really liked Fez. Fez was awesome. There's various other ones in between. You know, Super Meat Boy was a lot of fun. Resident Evil Village. You know, I've watched people play it. I didn't play it myself though. Have ever played At Dead of Night? No, I don't think so. I haven't even heard of it, to be honest. I might recognize it. You tune into me reading the dictionary. I appreciate that. I have the perfect guy voice. Thank you. Garlic? What about garlic? Let me put lube on my lips just to see if it... just to reapply. You play a horror game called Death Park. Did the stream stop? I don't think so. Anybody having any issues? Hollow Knight. That's one that I've seen a ton, but I haven't really played much. Ever play Infliction? How do I not remember that? David with the 2 says, have you played Resident Evil 4 live? Not live, but I've played Resident Evil 4 before, and I played it on VR with a friend. That was really interesting. Some of those VR games make you feel like you're in like a picture, like a pop-up book, the way that it looks and stuff. Sandbox with the 5 says, do you have a favorite book? Tell Pradeep good night for me. Oh, thank you, Sandbox.
Hey, listen.
Sadly, he's nowhere to be found. Favorite book? I can honestly say that I haven't read enough books to like determine that I have a favorite. Like I'm not enough of like a bookworm, even though that's literally what I do here. But I almost feel like I'll listen to audiobooks here and there, but yeah, I honestly can't say. I would only say I've only really like personally read like a handful of books in my life, which is kind of sad to hear probably, but am I a fan of Sean O'Malley? That's a wrestler? Is that the Sheamus guy? Do you know the way? Habitual smells like a man. Yeah, stinky man. Don't make me Will Smith you. Yeah. I feel bad because it's like you really haven't seen Chris Tucker in how long, like in anything, in any movies, any show. Well, I guess like there he was in that Saw movie, you know what I mean? And I bet he's like pissed. He's like, Jesus Christ, the one time I go back and do comedy, I get my face smacked. It's just favorite culture? Oh, I have no idea, man. They all have something interesting about them. Books are dumb. Yeah. Fuck books. Hit the gym. No, I'm just kidding. You're down to 1 can of Dr. Pepper? Uh-oh, that's scary. That's terrifying. Dante's Inferno. I never finished Dante's Inferno, but I read a decent amount of it. And kind of boring, to be honest with you. Like, it's just like, I don't even know what the fuck's going on. I always used to confuse it with Corpse Husband. Interesting. I feel like we sound pretty different. Who is Chris Rock? Chris Tucker. No, not Chris Tucker. It was Chris... Wait, did I say Chris Tucker? Oh, my bad. Chris Rock. Yeah, Chris Rock was the one on stage, right? I've literally mixed their names up since I was young. Like, even though I know exactly who's who, I just like fucking mix their names up because they were kind of like popular around the same time. You have an affinity for the Irish? Yeah, I don't know much about Irish culture, to be honest. Did you ever consider reading bad fan fiction just for stream? Yeah, probably. Probably would give it a whirl. I've seen one of your comments on Eric Bugenhagen. Yeah, the Bugs he's a freak of nature, man. 275 pounds of pure muscle, one of the strongest people I've ever seen, and he's supposedly natural, you know what I mean? Aside from drinking like an entire gallon of milk a day. I said Chris Tucker. Oh, okay. I do miss Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker was one of my favorite actors growing up, like seeing him in Friday and then seeing him in The Fifth Element, you know, and of course Rush Hour with Jackie Chan. Gefilte fish. Sean O'Malley is a bum, never wants to fight ranked fighters. When he does, he gets obliterated. Oh, is he like an actual UFC fighter? Okay. Yeah, I don't really follow UFC that much other than just like loose. I felt like I followed it more in the past. I feel like as I've gotten older, I just don't know anything and I suck. But she also said that she was terrified of something he'd do to get back at her for it. And as much as we knew that her dad, Patty, would never let anything happen to her while she was under his roof, we knew he couldn't protect her all the time. We also knew that Che was absolutely terrified of Patty, as they'd almost gotten into fights a few times before, and Patty is well bigger than Che and could beat the life out of him if it came to it, so we always stayed away from the house, just not far enough. I remember the day we found out that Angel was in the hospital, and we were all hoping it wasn't anything too serious. But then we heard that she'd been hurt in a serious incident and that she'd somehow fallen out of a van that was going down the motor. Oops. I remember the day we found out that Angel was in the hospital, and we were all hoping it wasn't anything serious. But then we heard that she'd been hurt in a serious incident, and that she'd somehow fallen out of a van that was going down the highway, and we just knew that Che had something to do with it. As it turns out, Che had gotten the help of one of his friends, and they'd waited in a van near Angel's house, waiting for her to come out. When they spotted her, Che ran out, picked her up, then basically carried her to the van and threw her into the back of it. We still don't know exactly what went on inside the van, but Che insisted in court that he didn't just throw her out of it. Sorry, that sounded weird. He didn't just throw her out. We still don't know exactly what went on. What is this saying? We still don't know exactly what went on inside the van, but Che insisted in court that he didn't just throw her out of it. That's his statement in court. I didn't just throw her out of it. We still don't know exactly what went on inside the van, but Che insisted in court that he didn't just throw her out of it. But whatever he was doing or saying, it scared Angel so much that she somehow found out. Man, I made so many mistakes now. I'm just can't find my rhythm with these fucking stories. Sorry. But whatever he was doing or saying, it scared Angel so much that she somehow found a way to open the back doors as it was traveling down the highway, and she must have thought her only chance at survival was jumping out the back of the van. Some people think Che pushed her out of the back as a way to kill her, but at his trial, his lawyers were somehow able to prove that Che hadn't pushed her, and all he wanted to do was keep her inside the van. He must have admitted to just wanting to kidnap and scare her into getting him. He must have admitted to just wanting to kidnap and scare her into getting back with him. Getting back. Oh my god. I see a lot of fat cats there, cute. Where are you seeing fat cats at? He must have admitted to just wanting to kidnap and scare her into getting back with him. But I know Angel would have done anything. I'm already mentally pooped. He must have admitted to just wanting to kidnap and scare her into getting back with him. But I know Angel wouldn't have done anything so drastic without being scared for her life. What happened next makes it clear to me that the justice system in this country is just completely broken, because the sentence Che got was nothing on what he deserved to get. He recently got sentenced to more than double. Wait. He recently got his sentence. What is it saying? He recently got his sentence. He recently got sentenced. I'll just say. He recently got sentenced to more than doubled. He recently got his sentence more than doubled after this big public campaign headed up by her parents. Okay, I see. Jesus, fuck. It's not even a focus thing. I just can't focus. He recently got his sentenced. He recently got his sentence more than doubled after this the public. I never make this many mistakes. I don't know what the fuck. Not this early, you know what I mean? He recently got his sentence more than doubled after this big public campaign headed up by her parents, which is all good and everything, but it still feels like nothing because Angel's life is basically over now. She suffered serious head trauma after falling or being pushed from the back of the van, and now the doctors think that she's going to be potentially disabled for the rest of her life. We don't know if she's ever going to walk, talk, or eat by herself ever again. It's basically a death sentence, but the sentence Che was originally going to get was just over 4 years. Can you even believe that? A guy kidnaps his ex-girlfriend. He might have actually thrown her out the back of the van going at 60 miles an hour. Her life is now basically over, and he was probably going to get out of prison after 4 years. That's nothing. He deserves to be in prison for the rest of his life. The driver of the van got next to nothing too, and he also deserves to be in prison for the rest of his life. Angel once told me about a law in America where if someone dies while you're committing a crime, you're charged automatically. Y'all crazy in the chat, what the fuck? Alright. Angel once told me about a law in America where if someone dies while you're committing a crime, you're charged automatic. Jesus fuck. I wish I could. Angel once told me about a law in America where if someone dies while you're committing a crime, your charge is automatically turned into. What is this saying? Your charge automatically gets turned into murder. Okay. Angel once told me about a law in America where if someone dies while you're committing a crime, your charge automatically gets turned into murder. And I think we should have one like that. Oh. And I think we should have one like that here too. It would make people think twice about doing things like kidnapping or drunk driving or anything that could end up ruining someone's life. Sorry if this seems... See, I don't... Yeah, when you have... I can't tell if this is... Okay. And I think we should all... And I think we should have one here like... Dude, what is wrong with my brain right now? It's so weird, dude. I've literally never, like... Let me just put chat down. I don't know if it's distracting me. And I think we should have one here like that, too. It would make people think twice about doing things like kidnapping or drunk driving or anything that could end up ruining someone's life. I'm sorry if this seemed to get a bit emotional or it wasn't the best written story you've been sent, but I got a bit upsetting. Sorry if this seemed to get a bit emotional or it wasn't the best written story you've best sent. God, I can't, like, I just feel bad, like I can't read. Sorry if this seemed to get a bit emotional or it wasn't the best written story that you've been... Sorry if this seemed to get a bit emotional or it wasn't the best written story you've been sent. I got a bit upset writing it. Jesus. I don't know, man. I just, like, can't... I don't know if I'm not, like, in alignment with my fucking chakras. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know if Will Smith just smacked me up the side of the head. I'm just, like, experiencing, like, the indirect vibrations from Chris Rock's skull reverberating throughout fucking time. I don't know. I can't fucking read. Sorry if this seemed to get a bit emotional or it wasn't the best written story you've been sent. I got a bit upset writing it because it's still all so raw for us all. This all happened almost 2 years ago now, but it honestly feels like yesterday that we found out that Angel's life was over. I hope you read this out in one of your videos so that more people know what a rotten scumbag Jay Boskill is. And I hope everyone in prison hears about what he'd done so that... I don't know if that's like... if I can even say that. It's not... No, I can't blame it on the writing all the time because, like... I just literally, some days my brain just doesn't fucking compute shit. Especially when I'm, like, dry reading. Sometimes I can dry read really well, but then... other days I just, like, can't fucking do it. Check on the worm. Where's my poor worm doing? Do you think he's getting some now that he demonstrated to his wife that he's defended her honor? Yeah, probably. But it does make you wonder, like, is there going to be any sort of, like, legal action as well? Because just, I mean, maybe within the whole sense of honor, he won't do anything because he knows that, or, you know, Chris Rock won't do anything because he knows that that would bring more flack to him. And he just takes his hit and moves on. But would you ever slap someone on live TV? If so, for what? I don't think I would get away with it. Like, if I walked up on stage and slapped Chris Rock for making fun of my wife, would you guys defend me? Would you guys say that I was an honorable gentleman? Would my wife even care? You know what I mean? Would my wife even give a shit? Do a collab with Amaranth. You should message her, let her know. I'm down. We can do dancing. We can play Wii games. Wouldn't it be considered assault? Right, yeah, I don't know. Have you seen the Foo Fighters horror movie? No, was it funny? I hope you read this out in one of your videos so that more people know what a rotten scumbag Che Boskill is. He deserves to be the one lying in a hospital bed, not able to move, not Angel. I mean, he actually laughed during the court case. How can you even do that? How evil do you have to be to hear someone talking about how you took a girl's life away and then just laugh about it? Please read this out so that more people hear about Angel's story. People didn't... Please read this out so that more people hear about Angel's story. People need to know that if a guy is a psych... What? Also, would you guys, like, say hypothetically someone, like, made fun of your haircut at the Oscars. Would you need me to go on stage to publicly smack the comedian, the stand-up comedian, to defend your honor? Is that something you guys need to happen instantly, right now? You can feel your honor meter was at, like, let's say it was at, like, 75 out of 100. You know, it was a good day. You had an honorable day. But as soon as Chris Rock said a joke about your hair, it went down to, like, 15. But then as soon as, like, you see me smack, pow, pow, Big Willie style, I'd scream Big Willie style. Your honor just multiplier just shoots up, like, through the thing. Like, through the meter. You're like, I'm filled with honor. I'm filled with honor because my boyfriend, my husband, punched somebody on live TV. Okay. All right, you know what? I'll do it. I'll go up there. I'll catch some charges for my wifey. I'll do it, all right? Do a video on Tristan Bailey's case, Florida resident. Okay. Only if you struck him with a sock filled with butter. Yeah, just go up there with a butter sock. Will apologize to the Academy. Oh, perfect. Perfect. It's very kind of him. But now her honor went down. Like, she's now back down to, like, 25 honor. Yeah, they should have had a slapping contest. It would have been... Oh, that's a good point. It was a sucker punch. So that's not very honorable of him. Right? Oh, but then Chris's statement was not very honorable either. We got to compare. We got to put... What's that, like, thing in the court system where they have, like, the weights and balances? We got to, like, determine, like, the numerical value of each person's honor and put, like, pieces of gold on it to determine who's in the right. He deserves to be the one lying in a hospital bed, not able to move, not Angel. I mean, he actually laughed during the court case. How can you even do that? How evil do you have to be to hear someone talking about how you took a girl's life away, and then just laugh about it? Please read this out so more people hear about Angel's story. People need to know if it's a guy... God damn it, man. People need to know that if a guy is a psycho, it's not up to them to fix him or help him, because they'll just end up as a victim. Dishonor on you, dishonor your family, and dishonor on your cow. Yes. Always bring dishonor upon the livestock. Believes in unicorns with the two is because she has a lot of... No, I know. We talked about that earlier. I understand. But I also kind of like half wonder if it was just like a stunt to get people to... I mean, we're talking about it now, right? Honestly, I feel like that's the only thing people get people's attention anymore. It's just like whenever they up the ante on the insanity. Colin with 5. Thank you, Colin. I'm driving home from work. What happened with Chris Rock? He said a joke about Will Smith's wife, who has alopecia, meaning she can't grow hair, right? And said that she looked like G.I. Jane. So Will Smith walked up on stage and quote-unquote slapped the shit out of him and then said, "Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth." And Chris Rock said, "Okay." And now they're making Independence Day 3. It would be funny if Chris Rock had like COVID and then like he lost his taste and it's like been a real pain for him for a while, and then all of a sudden Will Smith slapped him and he was like, Is that blood? I can taste again. Thank you, Will Smith. Thank you so much. Alright, so these stories have been sad. That's fun. He saw him coming, but I don't think Chris anticipated to get smacked in the face at the Oscars on stage. I'm not saying what Chris Rock did was right, you know what I mean? Like, nothing in life is black and white, you know what I mean? I'm not saying what Chris Rock said was right, because clearly that's a very low ball joke. But I mean, I'm not going to sit there and pretend like someone walking up on stage and like hitting somebody is somehow like some pro gamer move, you know what I mean? Is somehow like the highest form of flattery. Like, I just... What exactly do you expect kidnapping stories to be? Yeah, where's all the fun ones? Can we all agree Chris Rock doesn't age? Yeah, Will Smith, they both look good. That was like it tricked me. I didn't realize there's like senior citizens up there fighting. It was like, I'm surprised Chris didn't break a hip. Or Will getting up on stage. I have a story for you, but it's not something that happened to me. It's something that happened to our neighbors back when we lived in Highgate in London. So I wasn't scared, but all the neighbors were scared for the family this was happening to, if that makes sense. Also, I've changed the man's name because my mom reckons that his parents would probably never talk to us again if they knew I'd told this story to a big YouTube channel like yours. Anyway, Their son was taking a gap year before he went to uni, and he ended up going off to Thailand for a few months during the summer. His parents are keeping in touch with him, and he seemed to be having a lot of fun. And then out of the blue, they got a phone call from some guy from Thailand. He asked them, like, something of the lines, what? Senior Smackdown. He knocked his dentures out of his fucking mouth. Will Smith finished his pudding, got his walker, made it up the ramp, and just absolutely, I mean, I don't even think Chris Rock even knew what was coming at him. All he saw was like a blur. Yeah. He asked them something like, "Are you Rob's parents?" And they obviously say yes. And then he tells them that Rob has been kidnapped. If they contact the police, they're going to torture and kill him. And if they don't pay them so many Thai baht, their currency, within a set time limit, they're also going to torture and kill him. Not just that, but they're going to feed his body to crocodiles or sharks or something, basically so they'd never be able to have a piece of him to bury. Pretty grim stuff, right? So Rob's mom is basically ready to get the money together, anything to keep them from hurting Rob. But his dad just gets in touch with the Thai consulate right away, and he gets the police involved. This caused absolute murder with the couple, no pun intended. Like, there were some nights that you could hear them screaming at each other in the kitchen, with Rob's mom screaming like, "You've killed him! You've killed our son!" I mean, it got really intense like that. And just to let you know, it all ended basically okay, and Rob never got hurt or anything, but get this. Rob's dad kept telling the kidnappers that he was having trouble sending the money over to the account that they'd given him, as his bank kept flagging the transaction for fraud and refusing to send it. He played like he was more than willing to send the money, but he was just having trouble getting it sent. That way, he could buy more time for the Thai police to track the phone calls and bank account number to the person they needed to arrest. In the end, Rob's parents get another phone call from the Thai police telling them Rob was he won the Oscar for Best Slap. How can she slap? In the end, Rob's parents get another phone call from the Thai police, telling them Rob had been found safe and sound, but that he's been arrested on fraud or scamming charges or something. As insane as it sounds, Rob was never in any danger. He wasn't in some chicken wire cage or handcuffed to a bloody radiator or whatever. He was actually in on the scam himself. Long story short, he'd run out of money and was too ashamed to ask for more, so instead he turned to some local scammers who had a proposition for him. Pretend to be kidnapped, pose for a proof of life picture, then split the ransom money 50-50 with the so-called kidnappers. Turns out it was a proper little cottage industry where he was staying, and horrible little tow-rag backpackers would sometimes scam their own parents and each other's out of maybe £1,000 at a time. The exchange rate is massive between baht and most European and American currencies, so the kids would always be like, "It's only a few £100 in our money," or whatever, and then they'd just let them go. Then the ungrateful buggers get a few more weeks of traveling in them, I see. He does the Carlton on stage. Dun, 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 like, and then like Chris Rock comes out and does it too. Dun, 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 and then his wife comes out. Dun, dun, dun. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. Dun, dun, dun. It's not unusual. It was all a stunt. Thanks for coming out to the Oscars, everyone. Have a good night. Woo! Ooh, it's Saturday night. And then it's SNL suddenly. I don't know why. Then the ungrateful buggers got a few more weeks of traveling in them with the money they just made. Like I might have mentioned, we don't live next to this family anymore, but as you can guess, Like I might have mentioned, we don't live next to this family anymore, but as you can guess, it caused a huge rift between the kid and his parent. It's Saturday night. As soon as Tom Jones hit. Like I might have mentioned, we don't live next to this family anymore, but as you can guess, it caused a huge rift between the kid and his parents, and I'm pretty sure it's one that still has not healed properly. I totally understand why, too. He put them through torture, all just because he was greedy and too proud to ask for money himself. What the hell is a toe rag? Bro, I have no fucking clue. It's from the UK, so they've got all... I'm surprised they didn't use the word chippers and bings, splutters and coom wools, a bit of slippies, a bit of bubbling brook juice, a bit of squabbly tobs, a bit of Will Smithies, a bit of Rocky Chris. Toe rag means ghetto. Okay.
Mischievous dog.
Like ratchet. Just heard a joke. Oh. Iced latte, welcome back to the Mischievous Frogs for 3 months. Hello from Reno, Nevada. Nice. I used to watch that show, Reno, on Comedy Central. Bangers and mash. Yeah. Puffing past. I'm not smoking. I'm just gargling. Would you like some of my gargly juice? As a Brit, you take offense to that? Good. Good. Now go finish your bangers and mash. Go finish your spiggles and spawn ones. I'm only kidding. Come on now. You know me. Only having a bit of a piss. A bit of a wiggle waggle. A bit of a trim the old hedges around the squally. Oz, you're hot. Nice, dude. A bit of D's nuts. I always hear bangers and mash. Was it like sausage and potatoes or something? That sounds about right. Fish and chippies. Piss and shit. If I opened up a fish and chips place in the UK, I'd call it piss and shit. I don't know. Probably not the greatest idea. Probably not the highest seller, but I think it'd be worth it. Taking the mick, you bellend. Johnny Bellend. More like it. That's Mr. Bellend to you. Are you I'm taking a piss in my pants. How many stories left? Oh boy. There is 2, but they're like true crime stories. Heather with the 2 says your reading is good exercise for my ADHD. Nice. Yeah, what like it helps focus, or what does my reading do? Sorry, I'm just making sure I got. Okay. That's interesting. A fucking kidnapping scam. That's what I should have did with my parents. There's still time. Go for the atmosphere. Oh yeah, it's a place that sells the pish and shit. The Muppet and Shag. An honest company name, yeah. What's up, Shannon? Oh, it helps you focus and relax. Nice. That's interesting. I'm glad I can be of service. Okay, so this one's like 6 pages. Arcadia, California. Okay, so this is true crime. So people get, I don't know. Sometimes people ask for like trigger warnings and stuff, but I don't really, I can't really guesstimate that kind of thing. Heel Broken Nero with the 279 Canadian says, "Sir, going blanky mode." I was actually just saying that meme the other day. It's so funny. Master Chief, you want to tell me what the hell you're doing in there? Sir, going blanky mode. Iced Latte with a 5 says, "Joe, I cannot sleep without listening to your narration. 100% amazing." Oh, thank you, Ice. I'm glad I can be of service. Really what I'm doing is I'm operating kind of like a vibrational drug. I'm creating a dependency on all of you for your sleepy time. Right, bruv, I was having the right shag and me old gaffer was taking the absolute piss. Amanda, could you please, if you're from the UK, just write out a bunch of UK statements? I would like to read all of them. Do English people still eat cock and treece? What's that? If anybody's from the UK, please just type out like the most excessively UK statement you could ever write, and I will scream it like a right wanker. Wicked with the 10. Hey Joel, hello Wicked, how are you? Thank you for the 10. Thank you. And Aaron with the 2 says, "Iron Maiden beer and Daddy telling me stories." Iron Maiden beer? Okay. A vibrational drug. The Duty of the 10th Man. What's that? Arcadia, isn't that near LA or San Gabriel? I'm not sure. I have no idea. Spider. All right, born in 1980 in Arcadia, California, J.C. Lee Duggard. Is it Duggard? Let me look up his Duggard. Oh, so anybody familiar with this case? This say? Cock and trice was an extravagant dish served at medieval feasts. The main idea of the dish was to use parts of regular animals to create an impression of a mythical beast. Oh, interesting. That's kind of badass. I want to eat some cock and trice. Dugard. Okay, that's where they're from. Who likes Harry Potter? Every band has an alcohol now. Yeah. Born on May 3rd of 1980 in Arcadia, California, J.C. Lee Dugard had it rough from the start. Her mother, Terry Probin, neglected to tell her father she was pregnant, so he spent the majority of his adult life ignorant of the fact that he had a daughter. Just 5 months after J.C. was born, her mother relocated to a small town south of Lake Tahoe named Myers, and later married a man. Sorry. Any updates on the worm? No, sadly. We had determined that he opened up a wormhole and just left. But thank you for the 2. If 9 of us who get the same information arrived at the same conclusion, it's the duty of the 10th man to disagree, no matter how improbable it may seem. Why would that be the duty of them? Were they there too? Or... What's the most vivid nightmare you've had? I had one where a demon ate me and I didn't wake up until it was over. Oh, interesting. Was it painful being eaten by a demon? Do you watch Stimpy? No, I never heard of Stimpy. How's my plant? It's good. It's upstairs and I gave it an ice cube. When I first got it home, I gave it... Oh, we need to think of a plan on how to take care of the orchid. Because that's all I really need is just like to know like every 10 days or every 15 days, you know what I mean? Like I got to do this, because when I first got home it was really dry, so I gave it, I think it was like 4 ounces of water to like for its moss, and it seemed fine. And then I put a piece of ice on it too, because someone said to put a piece of ice on it. But if you have like if someone could just like write a checklist on like what to do with it to make sure it doesn't die, that would be super duper. Because people were talking about like fertilizer and replanting it and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, oh my god, all of that sounds complicated. So is this orchid our baby? Or yep, pretty much. You guys are responsible for its life or death. You have to control my actions with it, like indirectly, like Twitch plays Pokemon kind of thing. Up, down, A, B, up, down. Oh, I knocked it over. Sorry. Oh, Ren and Stimpy. Oh yeah, I love Ren and Stimpy. That was a good show. Can you do a voice impression for the outro? It's been forever. Can it be Arthur Morgan impression? And the joke has to be Westerlinamine.
Dutch, you can't roller skate in a buffalo herd. You can't roller skate in a buffalo herd.
I always kill plants, so don't bother anymore. Oh, you murder them. I'm a good plant dad, thank you. I will try my best.
Little critters in nature, they don't know that they're ugly.
I would love to give advice, but I'm awful when it comes to plants. Dang. That's okay. Birdeep will take care of the fertilizing. Yeah, I have to keep it out of his reach. Because as soon as I like picked him up to like let him sniff it, he like instantly started trying to eat it. And I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Oh yeah, its name is Lazuli. Someone on Twitter named it Lazuli. Mac, I think their name was. You're better with doggies, yeah. I was thinking, like, at least with them, they can give you affection. Perhaps my orchid will release some sort of pheromone that will make me euphoric. Just 5 months after JC was born, her mother relocated to a small town south of Lake Tahoe named Myers, and later married a man named Carl. She believed that moving out to a quiet rural setting would give her small family that peace it needed to prosper. But she couldn't have been more wrong. By the summer of 1991, Terry was working as a typesetter at a small print house, and on June 10th of that same year, she left for work early in the morning, leaving 11-year-old JC to catch the bus to school. Wearing her favorite pink outfit, JC walked out of her house, then began trudging up a nearby hill towards her regular bus stop. But when she was around halfway up, a gray Mercury Monarch pulled up alongside her, and the driver began asking her for directions. JC didn't know the area very well, so she began by apologizing to the driver. Then, as she racked her brain to come up with the correct directions, the man's friendly demeanor shifted completely. He reached out of the open window, grabbed JC by the arm, then thrust the business end of a stun gun into her chest, incapacitating her before dragging her into the vehicle with him. Back at JC's home, her stepdad, Carl, had noticed the gray vehicle pulling up alongside her. I'm not entirely sure of the layout of the Probin. Let's see, oops. Probin. I just want to make sure I'm saying Probin right. Sorry you're late. No, yeah, no worries, no worries. You've been out of it the past 2 days. Well, welcome back. Soz, mate, I was at this rubbish pub when this wanker tried to nick me rum right out me hand. Bloke was absolutely daft. Had me right chuffed, I reckon. Got a wicked welt. More, Amanda, more. Someone tried to kidnap the girl in your school and I will never get over it. Yeah, that's scary. That'd be terrifying. Which story? This is story 4 of 5, but these last 2 are pretty long. Back at JC's home, her stepdad Carl had noticed the gray vehicle pulling up alongside her. I'm not entirely sure of the layout of the Probin house, but wherever Carl was standing, he had a view of the steep road which led to JC's bus stop. This meant he was forced to watch in absolute horror as his stepdaughter was tased and abducted right before his eyes. He rushed to a bicycle he kept near the front door and proceeded to pedal after the gray Mercury as fast as he could. But it was no good. The car sped off out of sight and JC was gone. Within just a few hours of JC's disappearance, journalists from both local and national media outlets were buzzing around the sleepy streets of Meyer like flies around a corpse. They interviewed JC's distraught parents, as well as local school children who had also witnessed the gray Mercury speeding off towards a nearby highway. A few days later, the entirety of Southern California was plastered with flyers and missing posters depicting JC's likeness, and Meyer became adorned with ribbons in JC's signature pink as a show of support for her heartbroken family. Terry Probin quickly founded. You fuku knobhead. Taylor Hawkins' death hit you really hard. Yeah, that's the drummer of, was it Foo Fighters? Because they just released a movie, right? And then he passed away, but I didn't find out how he passed away. I mean, I guess that's kind of like private for the family, but, you know, you're always curious as to what happened. Only 52, and he looked very young. Terry Probin quickly founded an organization known as JC's Hope, which accepted donations to fuel the search for her missing daughter, and the group also received financial and material aid from the likes of Child Quest International and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. JC's case was also featured on an episode of the television show America's Most Wanted, and although the episode generated dozens of tips and leads, not a single one led to JC's safe recovery. Police initially suspected that JC's biological father, Ken Slayton, might have been to blame for her abduction, and went to interview him in connection with her disappearance. Little did they know, but Ken had no idea he was even the father, and the revelation was nothing short of heart-wrenching to him. Not only had he spent the last 11 years being completely unaware of his daughter's existence, but he had been incapable of protecting her when she needed it most. In order to determine if he was telling the truth, the police subjected Ken to several polygraph tests, but since he passed each and every one of them, they were forced to rule him out as a suspect. However, without Ken Slayton, Swampy Dweller, what's up, buddy? Swamp, did you start your OnlyFans like you said you were going to? Like you promised us? Like we've been waiting for the past 6 minutes after the announcement? Oh, are you taking the piss? I'm on me way to the footy, and me mate was having a right strop on the tube. Blimey, what a pillock. What's a pillock? I've never heard of a pillock. He was 50 years old. He was the drummer for the Foo Fighters. I'm just really sad and kind of dazed. Oh, no, for sure, yeah. Yeah, it was really sad. And I guess we won't find out till later. Usually that's... But... I didn't know if he, like, struggled with, you know what I mean, like, drugs. Because you always wonder, like, in bands and stuff, do they have alcohol? Do they have... heroin addiction, that kind of thing that like may have led to an overdose or something, correlated. Shrek cosplay on the way. Let's go, finally. You need to bulk up for a little Shrek action. Get out me swamp. However, without Ken Slayton as their main suspect, the police had no idea who might be responsible for Casey's abduction, and after years of false leads and investigative dead ends, they were forced to divert their attention elsewhere, and the case of Casey's abduction became a cold one. 18 years later, on August 24th of 2009, a man walked into the San Francisco office of the FBI with an envelope in his hand. He handed it to a bemused secretary, telling her the envelope's contents were of the utmost importance. I got Daddy Joel for the body. We just photoshopped my head on there. Boom, easy. I do be looking a little Shreky lately. A little green, if you know what I mean. How's it going, my dude? He handed it to a bemused secretary, telling her the envelope's contents were of the utmost importance. The envelope then found its way onto the desk of an FBI agent, and when opened, they found it contained a 4-page essay detailing the nature of religion and how certain criminal behavioral problems could be solved by subjecting the perpetrators to intense sessions of Bible study. A few hours later, the same unhinged writer walked onto the campus of the University of California, seeking an appointment with the special events manager. With him were two, sorry. How'd you react when you got your first nosebleed? It's going, flowing, rowing, hell yeah. I didn't really get too many nosebleeds growing up. I remember actually kind of finding out from a young age that my blood clotted way faster than almost it should. You know what I mean? I remember testing for they would do blood tests or testing for diabetes or whatever, and just do a prick on the finger, and it was almost instantaneously it would bleed, or it would clot to the point where it was difficult to get the blood out, which I almost feel is a bad thing, because then I could probably die because of that. I don't know. I gotta start eating garlic, right, guys? With him were 2 young women that he claimed were his daughters, but the event manager harbored some rather sinister suspicions. Lisa Campbell later stated that the girls seemed sullen and submissive, and were so pale that it was as if they'd not seen sunlight in quite some time. Campbell then contacted the head of campus police, who in turn ran a background check on the man in question, who told them that his name was Philip Garrido. And that's how they discovered that Garrido was a registered pederast. Oh. Pederast. Jesus. That's such a... I don't think I've ever really heard it said like that. You're gonna play Tiny Tina. We were talking about it earlier. Have you tried it yet? Because they said it was from the same people. From the same people who did Borderlands, almost based on a DLC from Borderlands or something. But apparently, a lot of people were asking for refunds and stuff. So I don't know. I guess we were just kind of, the consensus was to wait for the sale. That's how they discovered that Garrido was a registered offender who was on a federal parole. Who was on... Oh, you're watching Critical play it? Nice. Yeah, it does look pretty sweet. I mean, is it co-op, kind of like Borderlands, or is it just a single-player situation? That's how they discovered that Garrido was a registered offender who was on a federal parole. I keep saying a federal parole. Swamp, what would you say per video? Like, how many mistakes do you think you make per recording, for a video? Because I feel like mine's like, I mean, it depends, but I feel like I'm definitely always like over 100 mistakes. Was I double cheeked up on a Sunday? Always, dude, always. You need to watch if your blood clots too quickly. It can be dangerous. My sister has a thing called Factor 5 Lidon. There's a genetic thing with your blood clots. I'll be fine. Yeah, I guess I should probably check that out. That's how they discovered that Garrido was a registered offender who was on federal parole for kidnapping and assault. Not only was Garrido barred from associating with minors, but traveling to Berkeley exceeded the 25-mile limit he was allowed to travel from his home without his parole agent's permission. Having broken his parole conditions, 2 federal agents paid a visit to Garrido's home on the island of Antioch. Is it Antioch? Contra Costa County. Antioch sounds familiar. Probably like 25 to 50 at least. I'm never really counted. Yeah, I don't know. Tonight I'm just not on a roll. On a booty roll. She found out that she had it when she had a mild stroke. She has to be on blood thinners constantly. Oh, okay. Jeez. Do you think nasal tampons would sell on the market? Yeah, you would just have to probably call it something else, like tissues or something. Having broken his parole conditions, 2 federal agents paid a visit to Garrido's home on the island of Antioch in Contra Costa County. Garrido was briefly questioned, then ordered to accompany the 2 pale and timid girls to a parole office in nearby Concord on August 26th. Garrido did as he was told and arrived at the parole office with his wife, Nancy, and a young woman he introduced as Alyssa. Alyssa told investigators that although she was aware of Garrido's status, as an offender, that he was a great person, a changed man, and that he was good with her kids. Alyssa was then asked if she had any documentation which could prove her identity, and she suddenly became very defensive and cagey. When asked why she might react in such a way to such a simple request, Alyssa claimed that she was abused. They already sell it. It's called nampons. See, I feel like they should have gotten away from the tampon sounding name to it, because I don't know. What's my Joe Lonely fans? Wouldn't you like to know? You may or may not have just typed it in there in your message. You better go try it out. When asked why she might react in such a way to such a simple request, Alyssa claimed that she was an abused spouse from Minnesota who was hiding from her abusive husband. Investigators then tried to corroborate this story with Garrido and pressed him on why he'd told the Berkeley special events manager that Alyssa was his daughter, before quickly changing his story that she was the daughter of a friend. He too became defensive and agitated, and when the police demanded to see some kind of identification belonging to Alyssa, Garrido broke down and told them the truth. Alyssa wasn't his daughter, nor was she the daughter of a friend. She wasn't from Minnesota, she wasn't an abused spouse, and in truth, her name wasn't even Alyssa. Her real name was J.C. Lee Duggard. Only when she was confronted with Garrido's confession did J.C. admit who she was, and after a brief phone call with her mother, the first in 18 long years, she began telling police officers the story of her own mysterious abduction. After being taken to Garrido's... Jensen smells like eggs. Is he here? Tampons. But they go up the man's ass. Too much anal bleeding. Holy shit, Jensen, you've been a member for almost 2 years. If only Swamp Dweller cared enough to become part of the Buttersock cult. No, I'm just kidding. JK. Ooh. What are you boys doing? You playing video games? Oh no, you're watching Critical. He said that. After being taken back to Garrido's home, JC was kept prisoner in a small, soundproof shed that Philip and Nancy Garrido had constructed in their backyard. She was then told that if she tried to escape, some specially trained Dobermans would rip her to shreds before she even got near the backyard fence. A few hours later, Philip Garrido forced JC to shower with him, grooming her for what was to be 18 years of pure torture. Just a week later, Garrido subjected JC to the first of many assaults and told her that Jesus. Swamp, do you ever do, if you're still there, I'm not sure if you're still there or not, but do you ever do, like trigger warnings in your videos? Because I've been getting some comments pertaining to that, and I didn't really even know how to, like, implement them in. If there needs to be, like, flashing lights that give someone a seizure or something like that, or like a loud whistle, perhaps. Or maybe I just show a picture of Pradeep and he's wearing like a little shirt that says trigger warning. Just a week later, Garrido subjected JC to the first of many assaults and told her that if she behaved herself and didn't struggle, that she would be allowed to eat. As time went by, JC was rewarded for her submission with a TV to keep her entertained, yet the Garridos had carefully disabled access to any kind of news channel so that JC would be unaware of the ongoing search for her. Eventually, Garrido further rewarded JC by allowing her to live in a small bedroom, albeit constantly handcuffed to the bed it contained. Garrido then told that Cody with the 2 says, ever CD? Oh no, I know where this is going. You're gonna talk about compact discs.
Hey, listen.
And believe me, I know all about CDs. But if that's what you mean, what could you possibly mean by CD? What are CDs what? Garrido then told her. Garrido then told her that she was only abducted because certain demon angels had allowed him to do so, and her purpose was to help solve the problem he had with his libido, problems that he claimed society had largely ignored. He sometimes dressed her up, put makeup on her, then spent time making her cut figures out of adult magazines. He also told her to listen to the walls of her bedroom because if she strained her ears, she too would be able to hear the voice Garrido could hear talking to him. He told JC that these voices told him how he was the chosen servant of God, and it appears these beliefs were fueled by rampant methamphetamine binges, which further separated him from both reality and sanity. Sometimes, Garrido would break down into tears and apologize to JC for all that he'd put her through. Other times, he would become violent and abusive, telling her that he would sell her to other people if she didn't behave, people who wouldn't be nearly so nice as he was. Around 5 or 6 months into her captivity, Garrido introduced JC to his wife, Nancy, who took pleasure in mothering the child by bringing her stuffed animals or chocolate milk. Yet despite the veneer of motherly love, JC later said that Nancy was just as evil and twisted as her husband, and took charge of brainwashing until she stopped using the name JC to identify herself. JC also said that at one point, Nancy had brought her a kitten as a reward. Cody with the 2 says, CD's nuts. D's nuts. CD's nuts. CD's nuts. CD's nuts. Is that like that's like a CD, like a new album from a band or something? JC also said that, at one point, Nancy had brought her a kitten as a reward for what she called good behavior. But when JC began asking about her family, Nancy had somehow made the kitten disappear. Nancy also flat out refused to let JC see a kind of medical professional. See any kind of. Nancy also flat out refused to let JC see any kind of medical professional, and that her health. God damn it. Nancy also flat out refused to let JC see any kind of medical professional, and that her health drastically suffered as a result. Just over 3 years into her captivity, after being assaulted at least once a week, JC found that Philip and Nancy were suddenly acting rather differently around her. On April 3rd of 1994, they fed her a home-cooked meal for the first time, and began allowing her freedom from her handcuffs for brief periods of time. Shortly after this bizarre shift in behavior, 13-year-old JC was told that she might be pregnant with Philip's child. Then, on August 18th of 1994, she gave birth to a healthy baby girl. 3 years later, she would give birth to a second. After the birth of her children. After the birth of her children, JC coped with the prolonged captivity by homeschooling her daughters and tending a small flower garden with them. Yet in a move that only the most depraved of villains could conjure up, the Garridos found a way to turn JC's own children into a cudgel to beat her with. They told her that both she and her daughters were to refer to Nancy Garrido as mother, and that JC would teach her daughters that Nancy was their biological mother, while she was their older sister. JC was then told that if she failed to comply, both she and her daughters would be killed. By this point, JC was either so brainwashed or so terrified of losing her daughters that By this point, JC was either so brainwashed or so terrified of losing her daughters that even when she had ample opportunity to do so, she made no attempt to rescue herself. Even when she began working in Philip Garrido's print shop, where she had access to both a telephone and an email account, she never once indicated to anyone that she had been kidnapped as a young girl before being raised in captivity. And it wasn't just Yet it wasn't just what they later referred to as Stockholm Syndrome that was to blame for JC's prolonged captivity, as there seemed to have been several instances of what law enforcement called missed opportunities. Police not only failed to make the connection that JC was kidnapped south of Lake Tahoe, the same area as Philip Garrido's previous kidnapping offense, but in April of 1992, less than a year after she was taken, a legitimate sighting of JC failed to be seized upon. On April 22nd, a man called the Contra Costa County Sheriff's Department from a gas station less than 2 miles from where JC was being held. This man told police that he was almost certain he'd spotted JC Dugard at the gas station he was at, and he had been staring intently at a missing child poster of herself. The caller then reported seeing a man taking her away in a large yellow Dodge van. Sadly, the caller had been unable to make a note of the van's license plate, and by the time police arrived, it was long gone. Yet for some reason, there was no police follow-up on this call whatsoever. Then, in 2009, following JC's recovery, an old yellow Dodge van was recovered from the Garrido property, one that was matching the exact description of the one spotted in 1992. On top of that, in 2006, One of Philip Garrido's neighbors called 911 to inform them that children seemed to be living in tents in the backyard, and that Garrido was acting psychotic. A deputy sheriff then drove out to the property and conversed with Garrido for over 30 minutes, telling him that there would be a code violation if people were living outside on the property. Not once did he even ask to enter the backyard to talk to the children living there. In addition, the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation definitely deserves to shoulder some of the blame. They erroneously Joe Biden, wake up. Wake up. They erroneously classified Garrido as needing only low-level supervision, and it can be reasonably argued that this was the mother of all their mistakes. At one point, an inspector detailed an instance in which a parole agent encountered a 12-year-old girl at the home, but accepted Garrido's explanation that she was his niece, and did absolutely nothing to confirm it, even after discovering that Garrido had no nieces. Time and time again, the California authorities wasted chances to rescue JC from her fate, and so she was forced to employ alternative methods in order to survive. In 2016, broadcast journalist Diane Sawyer conducted an interview with JC and suggested that she may have been suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. In response, JC replied, "Stockholm Syndrome implies that hostages cracked by terror and abuse become affectionate towards their captors. But it's really degrading having my family believe that I was in love with this captor and wanted to stay with him. I mean, that is so far from the truth that it makes me want to throw up. I adapted to survive my circumstances. I did what I did so I could survive." Needless to say, JC's reunion with her mother was an extremely emotional one, and thankfully, it seems that her two children had suffered almost no negative effects of growing up in captivity. JC's aunt Tina once said that the children are clever, articulate, curious girls, and despite their bizarre upbringing, they've always seemed healthy and well-adjusted. Unbelievably, when charged with their horrific actions, the Garridos pled not guilty on all counts of kidnap, false imprisonment, and indecent assault. Philip Garrido in particular claimed that in the end, this is going to be a powerful, heartwarming story. My life has been straightened out. When you hear the story of what took place at this house, you're going to be absolutely impressed. It's a disgusting thing that took place with me at the beginning, but I turned my life completely around. Garrido seemed to think that he basically would be able to talk himself out of the charges by helping the FBI prevent future kidnapping incidents, and cited the 4-page essay that he'd given their San Francisco office in August of 2009. It was only when Nancy Garrido was faced with a 241-year jail sentence that Philip Garrido changed his plea, and while he was sentenced to 431 years, his cooperation meant that Nancy was only sentenced to 36. Since their imprisonment, JC has begun an intensive course of animal therapy, which emphasizes the therapeutic nature of interaction with animals as a way of healing past traumas. She undertakes this therapy with her mother Terry and her sister Shayna, and is said to respond best to interactions with horses. News of her rescue prompted public statements from other survivors of kidnap and abuse, most notably Sean Hornbeck and Elizabeth Smart. Hornbeck commented that coming out of what she's had to endure is like entering a new world. It's like a door is open for her and she's emerged from a world that's black and white into one that's full of color. She was brainwashed. She'll probably feel angry, but now she needs to move on with her life. Elizabeth Smart, on the other hand, stressed the importance of focusing on the future with a positive attitude as an effective approach to accepting what has happened. Those are undoubtedly some wise words from a woman who suffered a very similar trauma in her life, and it's advice. Rest in peace, Destiny's Twitch career. Yeah, what did I heard about that with Destiny? I never watched him, but I knew who he was. What did he do that got him banned from Twitch?
Oh.
God, I did leg day, and my knees are fine, but they're a bit swollen. Has anyone seen Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon? I've seen Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story with John C. Reilly. Oh, he said bad things. Okay. Mr. Balin's last view was horrifying. The weak needs to stay away from his channel. That's, well, yeah, I mean, he usually, before starting a video, says something like, the following stories are probably disturbing or something like that. Late to the party, how's it going? It's good. That's funny, you got a picture of Critical in as your thing. How much do I squat? You know, the most I've ever squatted was 435 pounds 3 times. And then after that, I did this weird sort of setup where it was like, basically I was working up to a heavy 3 that day. And was working up to a heavy 3, and then I had to do 20 reps at 85% of that, which ended up being like 365 pounds. And I did that 20 times. And it was fucking nuts. It was like, I don't know, it was crazy. But the crazier thing is that as I was building up to like a heavy 3 for squat, like, you know, I was building up, like I would do like 135, 225, 315, 365. But like, even when I was doing 365, 3 reps at 365 was hard. And then at 405, 415, 435. But like, after you do like a heavy thing and then you drop down, it's as if though your nervous system is like prepped and ready to go. You know what I mean? When it comes to like, you know, doing something that's still heavy, but like much lighter than what you were previously doing. So it's like, I wouldn't have been able to just jump into 20 reps of that, but because I went so much higher than it was, I mean, it sucked, but at the same time, it was doable. I don't know. It was really weird. It was really, really weird. I just feel like if you ever exercise and you're trying to do a bunch of reps for like bodybuilding stuff, it actually might be kind of beneficial to build up to like a heavy for a few, so that when you go down to do your bodybuilding like sets, that you just like pump, it'll be like pretty much easy to pump those out because your body's already like, you know, ready to rock and roll. You're studying for an algebra test while sick with a stomach bug. Thanks for keeping me company and love your channel. Oh, no worries, Naz. Good luck with algebra. Get all the... No, honestly, I don't even think girls care about squats. Like, if you squatted a bunch, a girl would be like, whatever. They just want those guns. Those guns, baby. I don't know. Maybe some people do like a big squatty potty. Those are undoubtedly some wise words from a woman who suffered a very similar trauma in her life, and it's God damn it. And it's advice we can all take in reference to moving on from the things that haunt us. If someone like JC can move on from 18 years of pure torture, then I'd like to think that we too are capable of surviving what haunts us the most. Girls love gym butts. Well, that's good. Women like butts too. You're struggling at 225. Tips on improving. Like for squat? Oh. I guess just eat. Eat food. And eat a lot of it. And eat enough protein that you're like in a calorie, you know. You know what I mean? And just do it. You know what I mean? If you're struggling with that much, like, try and incorporate squats 3 times a week. And then if you're still struggling, try and incorporate squats like 4 or 5 times a week. Like, I know that sounds like a lot, which it is, but like if you want to get it good at something, you just have to like do it. You know what I mean? And you have to do it often, and your body will adapt, especially when it comes to like strength. And the more strength you put on, like you know, depending on what you're doing, you will see size like adapt to your body as well. But I felt pretty cool. Like today for the leg press machine, I had 5 plates on each side, and I did about 8 reps for that. And that made me feel pretty neat, you know. You squat and cough 3 times a week yourself. Oh, perfect. You do the squatty potty, good for you. Take probiotics too. Yeah. You know what really helps with my digestive health is cashews. Like, I'll just eat a bunch of cashews, and like the next day, chef's kiss. It's perfect. It's perfect. Best shit I've ever seen in my life. It's amazing shit. No stink. Not even a little bit. Joel needs to be, what is it? A spokesperson for what? Thicker than a king size Snickers bar. Did they actually get rid of the cock vein on the Snickers bar? Because that would be really sad. That was kind of like a really defining, you know, aspect of enjoyment of eating a Snickers, was the cock vein. You drink kombucha? I've never really had like much success with eating or drinking kombucha as like some sort of benefit. Can you speak about Dasani water? You know, I don't have anything against it. Should I increase my reps at a lighter load since I only do heavy sets for 6 to 8? Maybe after you do your heavy sets for 6 to 8. And that's a lot for a heavy set, you know what I mean? Because 3 to 5 wouldn't be bad either if you wanted to keep going up. But maybe after you do your heavy sets, just like drop down to, you know, 85% of whatever you have on, and try to, you know, bust out some reps, maybe 10, 12 of those, and, you know, try to maintain that tension. So like after you go down your squat below parallel, and just like once you hit the top, like try not to rest at the top, just like hit it and go. And that sort of like tension is kind of like the metabolic tension that you need for like creating soreness, and then like building the muscle, and then obviously just getting enough nutrition, getting enough food. I mean, that's enough food and sleep, hydration. Shit's really important. I struggle with that. Like, really working out is just pretty much a science, and you know, I really need to invest in some people to like help me with stuff, because you know, it's kind of disheartening sometimes when you don't make gains, bro. Gains. Everybody in your class was talking about kombucha, so I thought I would try some. It was so gross, I tasted like ass juice. Interesting. Yeah, like there's some that I've had that taste pretty good. How long do I do these lives usually? They usually go for like 3 hours-ish. It's about 2.5 right now. We got one more story here, and this one's about 4 pages, roundabouts. What do you have for stomach fat? Because I ate my abs away. Yeah, sadly, stomach fat's just like less carbs and more cardio, you know what I mean? But, I mean, we all struggle with that, you know, in the sense of dietary issues, because food is addictive and delicious and amazing, especially in this modern era. And yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get, now that it's like starting to get warm out, even though it was cold as shit, I want to get back into like just biking, because biking is like a type of cardio that I feel like I really enjoy. Whereas, I mean, walking is good, but it's like you really want to get that sweat going. You want to, some of the best ways to increase your metabolism is just to like increase your body heat, you know? Mercenary. Okay, I couldn't quite read that at first with the two says. I didn't know you stream. I do, yeah. Every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, I will read the stories that I narrate for the next day. And I'm like, basically, I'm narrating them into my streaming mic, and then I'm also recording them into my normal mic. And then I edit them later, and you get the full shebanger. Oh my god, Jen Child. That's a name I've not seen in quite some time. With the 20, thank you. What's happening? Yo, yo. Yo, 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 yo. Whatever I buy you are just wanting to be a skinwalker hunter like me. Yeah. Oh, you just missed Swamp Dweller. He was in here. He could tell you all about hunting down the walkers. Food is gross. I just wish I could survive without having to eat it. I wish I didn't like food that much. I have an unhealthy relationship with food. Not in like a really bad sense, but just it's so fucking good. It's like sometimes it's like the only thing that brings me joy in life is eating food. Hence why it's like important to work out, because what kind of mic do we have? Yeah, so the mic that you're hearing right now at this exact moment is an AKG C214. And that is my streaming mic going into a UAC Zoom interface, which goes into your ear holes. And then for my recording mic that you hear in the videos, I use an H4n Pro. You're riding your bike, Jen? You're riding your bike right now? You doing a little cardio action? You have body dysmorphia. I do intense cardio every day. Yeah, I mean, obviously you have to be careful, because sometimes you can become obsessed with maintaining a certain look or a certain thing, and it ends up having a pretty negative effect on mental health and all that kind of stuff. So just be careful, obviously. And then if you do end up in those sort of situations, I would just, if you feel that you're heading towards an unhealthy direction, just try to find someone you can communicate with that with, so that they can get you headed in a healthier direction. You wish tacos didn't exist. You obsessively love it. Yeah, they are pretty gosh dang good. I could pretty much, it's funny, it's like you eat a salad, or like you eat like you go to Chipotle, you get a bowl, right? And you don't finish the bowl. But if I were to wrap that shit in the fucking burrito, all that stuff there, I would eat it in like half the time. I don't know what it is about eating stuff in a burrito, but it's just like so much, so good. My age is 69. Yeah, I just turned 69 yesterday. And I'll forever be that forever. Do you have any issues working out or doing cardio after the lung infection thing you had? I can't do cardio for more than 8 minutes after I had the corona. You know, it was a really weird situation, because yes, like after Rona, I had some issues with cardio. And I really haven't been doing a lot of cardio, but I remember I thought I had, I'll see you, Jen. We'll catch you later. But after, kind of doing Rona, like it was a really weird day. Like I would still have shit in my lungs, but it was getting better, but it was just taking a lot longer than like other previous respiratory infections I've had in the past. It was like taking like a month, you know what I mean, or more. And I was like, this is weird. Why do I have tuberculosis? Like, or even though I don't, but it was just like, what the hell is going on? And then and I'm not saying this is what people should do, but I stupidly went and smoked hookah with my friends, and I almost felt as if though that like expanded my lungs a little bit to like whatever was like chilling in my bottom of my lungs kind of started to go away. And then the next day I went for like a jog in the woods, because it was like starting to get a little bit nicer. And I did that for like 2 days. And all of a sudden, all that shit that was in my lungs before, after going for a jog and kind of using those lungs a little bit more, had dissipated. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Like, I feel like after you've kind of like finally recovered from some sort of respiratory issues, like going for some cardio and stuff is actually really beneficial. It took you like a month to be able to go up the stairs again. Yeah, isn't it weird? It was so strange. Oh, you have TB? No way. I'm sorry to hear that. What the hell? My favorite video game guy, Arthur Morgan, had passed away from TB in Red Dead Redemption, sadly. Can you read the last story? I certainly can, yeah. Steve Stainer. Okay, so just make sure I get these names right. Stainer. Was born as the third of Delbert and Kay Stainer's 5 children in Merced, California? Anybody from Merced, California? What? Merced, California. Oh, spoilers? You're playing Red Dead? I'm sorry. Fuck, that game's been out. That game's been out for like so long. There's no way. I'm sorry. Jen with the 2. Thank you, Jen. Oh, no worries. No worries. Okay, so Merced, California. Delbert. Let me make sure I get. I'm gonna name my kid Delbert. Name him Dildo. Delbert. Okay.
Hey, listen.
Stephen Stainer was born as the third of Delbert and Kay Stainer's 5 children in Merced, California on April 18th of 1965. By all accounts, Stephen had a happy childhood, and both his parents and siblings cared for him deeply. He and his brother often went exploring the nearby Yosemite National Park, and for a while, he had the kind of childhood that most of us can only dream of. Yet when he was 7 years old, Stephen suffered through something that can only be described as a living nightmare, and to say it had a destructive effect on his older brother might be the understatement of the century. When his schooling convened on the afternoon of December 4th, 1972, Stephen Stainer began the short walk back to his childhood home. At some point on the journey, he approached... Did that make sense, that, like, one sentence that was like... Yet when he was 7 years old, Stephen suffered through something that can only be described as a living nightmare, and to say it had a destructive effect on his older brother might be the... I guess it has to be his old... For some reason I thought it's almost... I don't know, it just seems like a weird segue. But I guess it's... That would imply that there's an important aspect of the story that is discussing the older brother as well. Sorry, I don't know why. It just confused me for a second. Who's my favorite story narrator? There's a lot of good ones out there, man. I'm telling you. A lot of talented people in this community. One that I feel like people sleep on a lot, that I want a dear friend of mine, is Mr. X Dreams. Greetings, friends. I just always like his voice. His voice is awesome. What up, Lauren? NASCAR? At some point in the journey, he was approached by a kindly-looking stranger who claimed to be collecting donations for a nearby church. Stephen didn't have any money to give, but the man claimed this was no problem and handed Stephen a small piece of paper that displayed a short Bible verse. It's understandable that this would generate a degree of trust between Stephen and the stranger, as he was raised to believe that men who followed the scriptures were good people. The man then asked Stephen if he thought his mother might be willing to donate to the church, and when the young boy replied in the affirmative, the man offered to give Stephen a ride back home so he could ask her. At that, a white Buick pulled up next to the pair, driven by a man that the stranger referred to as his minister. Again, it seemed Stephen had no reason to distrust the man, and as he climbed into the back seat of the Buick, he believed the men were about to drive him straight home. But soon, sorry. Sometimes I read words and I mix them up with the next word, almost like reading too fast. But soon, Stephen began to realize that he didn't recognize the roads the men were driving along alone. But soon, Stephen began to realize that he didn't recognize the roads the men were driving along, and it quickly dawned on him that he wasn't being given a ride home as they'd promised. He was being kidnapped. Stephen was taken to a cabin in the nearby Cathy's Valley, and the abuse began on the very first night. He was told repeatedly that if he behaved himself, he would be allowed to return home. But this was nothing but a lie his captors told him in order to keep him obedient. Then after a while, the men told Stephen another lie, explaining that they had been granted legal custody of him as his parents could not afford so many children. They told him his name was no longer Stephen Gregory Stainer, but rather Dennis Gregory Parnell, and over time, Stephen began to believe that his parents were no longer wanting him. And over time, Stephen began to believe that his parents no longer wanted him. Obviously, there was an extensive search for the boy taking place, but the men who'd abducted him somehow managed to keep him completely insulated from it. They frequently moved the boy around California, enrolling Stephen in different schools while keeping him relatively sheltered from the outside world. After a year in captivity, Stephen no longer saw himself as a prisoner of the two men, as he was given a great deal of freedom, including the freedom to drink alcohol, and he was also given a dog to look after. It's believed the Manchester Terrier, who was named Queenie, was a well-thought-out attempt to keep Stephen anchored to his captors. He couldn't bear to abandon Queenie, and even if he did realize that people were looking for him, he simply had no idea how to summon the appropriate help. That last part is taken straight from Stephen's own account of his kidnapping, and while it might seem surreal, who's my favorite comedian? Oh man, there's so many good ones. Probably Chris Rock. No, just kidding. Honestly, I didn't really even watch that much Chris Rock stand-up comedy back in the day whenever he was more relevant, I guess. And the only thing I've seen him in more recently, not even recently, was... Oh, fuck, I don't even remember, honestly. But, yeah, as far as favorite comedians goes, I really liked Louis C.K., Bill Burr. I remember Pablo Francisco was one that would, stick with me for a while. Thought he was hilarious. There's so many good ones. If you guys name some... Gabriel Iglesias. I'm not actually a huge fan of Gabriel Iglesias, even though I'm sure he's a nice person. And he's probably really fun to be around. I always kind of found his fat, but or I'm not fat, I'm fluffy. I always found that joke to be kind of frustrating for some reason as a kid. I don't know why it frustrated me so much. Oh yeah, Robin Williams. Yeah, George Carlin. Man, remember when Eddie Murphy did stand-up comedy in his red leather? Hey, Shelly. Shank with the 20. Thank you so much. Thanks for being you. You're welcome, and thank you. Your first name is Francisco? Nice. Mitch Hedberg. Oh yeah, Mitch Hedberg, man. It's been forever. He passed away from heroin, right? Or an overdose or something like that. He was the one that wore glasses. But a lot of his his delivery was pretty amazing. Gotta watch the clip. No, I saw the clip earlier before the stream started. Oh yeah, Nick Swartzen. Oh my god, dude, Nick Swartzen was so. Oh, what am I thinking? I was literally just thinking of, Neil earlier. Or Neil. Why can't I... Oh, Norm. Jesus Christ. Norm Macdonald. I kept saying Neil for some reason. Yeah, Norm Macdonald. Oh, Cat Williams. Yeah, Cat Williams was hilarious back in the day. Dane Cook was even good. It was like, there was a while where Dane Cook got so popular that it was like cool to like dislike Dane Cook, But like when you really go back on it, like if you enjoyed Dane Cook's comedy, like you might as well just enjoy it. Like there's no reason to not enjoy it because that shit was funny as fuck. I still say stuff from Dane Cook when he's like, "Thanks for the candy." Like there was like the one bit about some guy that was killed everybody in the office or something like that, but then he gave him a piece of candy at one point, so he spared him and he was like, "Thanks for the candy." Or like when he says like people shit on all the coats. Somebody shit on the coats. It was just, I don't know. At that time it was like the perfect just high school humor, you know what I mean? Like it was great. Do you watch William Johnson's show back? William Johnson, that doesn't sound familiar for some reason. Oh, he was stealing jokes. Yeah, the stealing of the jokes things is very, very sus, you know what I mean? Oh, Dana Carvey. I never really watched Dana Carvey stand up, but his impressions were incredible. Yeah, Gilbert Godfrey. You guys ever get stuck in a tsunami? Oh, Patton Oswalt. Yeah, Patton Oswalt was so fun. It was funny, like, listening to Patton Oswalt, and you're like, hear him on stage, and you're like, wow, that's why is Ratatouille telling jokes? Wait, he was the voice of Ratatouille, right? The rat. Jeff Dunham. Oh, see, I wasn't a big fan of Jeff Dunham because, like, I liked them later, but when I was younger, like, the post 9/11, like, comedians with the Jeff Dunham's, along with, like, those, you might be a redneck if, like, I just never found that shit funny. Oh, yeah, Dennis Leary. I remember that. He did that whole thing, like, I'm an asshole, the world's biggest asshole. Yeah, Key and Peele. Key and Peele is so funny. Like, I remember Dave Chappelle was, like, sort of pissed that Key and Peele were, like, quote-unquote doing his show. But, dude, Key and Peele skits are so different. You know what I mean? They're so, like compared to Chappelle's show was hilarious, don't get me wrong. But compared to Chappelle's show, it was very clearly, like, high production value. You know what I mean? Like, every Key and Peele skit is, like, the highest production value possible. It's got amazing writing. Those two are, like, amazing at acting. Just fucking, like, so funny. And I'm really excited to see, is it Jordan Peele? Yeah, Jordan Peele's new, like, Nope movie, because there's something about aliens and spaceships, like, UFO stuff that, like, I don't know why. Those for some reason, like, fill me with, like, dread when I see them. Like, maybe it's just the imagery. Maybe it's, like, some weird sort of, like, supernatural connection I have to the sight of it. But, like, something about UFOs, like, fucking freak me out. Her real name is not Whoopi Goldberg, but no, I know. Whoopi Goldberg is just a stage name. But I never really got to watch Whoopi Goldberg back in the day. Oh yeah, Brian Regan. He was always, like, good. Theo Von. Yeah, I've seen a little bit of Theo Von's, like, clips of his podcast. He said some funny stuff when he talked about fasting, and he was saying, like, he could hear a skittle hit the pavement 2 miles away or something like that.
Hey, listen.
Aaron Wilson with the 2 says Brad Williams is so damn... Brad Williams, huh? Yeah, any new comedians I probably might not know, to be honest. Is nobody going to mention... Oh, yeah, we talked about George Carlin. George Carlin was one of the greatest, in my opinion. Richard Pryor was one that... I didn't even really watch enough. I would see clips of Richard Pryor, but not actually watch any of Richard Pryor. He just, like, was never on TV growing up for some reason. Maybe because he was too raunchy, but I just, like... I remember Dave Chappelle always referenced Richard Pryor, but... I never really... I need to watch some of his shit. It's probably hilarious. Anyways, Aaron Wilson with the, oh yeah, thank you again. Thank you. So Joel, will you ever read UFO abduction stories? Well, I did previously, and I have, but yeah, something about those just like really freaked me out. I don't even know. Key and Peele do very silly skits where they're just having fun with it. Dave's skits always had a social and political undertone and commentary to them. You know, I don't even know if that's accurate, to be honest with you, because Charlie Murphy, you know, I don't know if that's like, you know, social or political, along with like, I smoke rock, Joe Rogan, I smoke rock. Joey Diaz. See, you know, I know Joey Diaz is from the Joe Rogan thing, like his group of people, but I have never really watched much of his stuff. Dimitri Martin. Oh yeah, Dimitri. He's the one that did a lot of like he would draw on like on a board or something on stage or something. I don't know. Yeah, Steve Martin with his banjo and shit. Spooky Quebec stories. What happens? I feel like Quebec would probably have some like Skinwalker type stuff. The House Mouse. Joey Diaz is beyond hilarious. Months wide. Yeah, I'll definitely check. I mean, you know what? I'll write these down honestly, just so I don't forget, and just watch some clips just for the fuck of it, because I really like stand-up comedy. It's like some of my friends don't like stand-up comedy. They think it's like silly, but I like it. Joey Diaz. And then Richard Pryor. Oh yeah, Bill Burr's great. Greg Barrett. Gargle Daddy J. Who's that? Drew Barrymore did stand-up comedy? No way. Flip Wilson. I don't recognize that. How come I don't post that much for the $5 tier? Well, it's just like once a month, you know. It's like a once a month, because it's like goes along with the members only content. And I literally don't have time with, like, sometimes I'm like pushing it with the chills content and then the members only content. It's just tough. $100 for the gargle juice. Yeah, that sounds like a lucrative business, to be honest with you. The throat goat. Oh my god. That last part is taken straight from Stephen's own account of his kidnapping, and while it might seem surreal and almost unbelievable that a boy of 9 would know how to call 911, we have to keep in mind that he was seriously abused by it, or wouldn't know. Hyper deep. He just smashed his head into my leg. The last part is taken straight from Stephen's own account of his kidnapping, and while it might seem surreal and almost unbelievable that a boy of 9 wouldn't know how to call 911, we have to keep in mind that he was seriously abused by his captors, and that under their guidance, reality was a fluid and shifting concept. When Stephen entered puberty, his captors began searching for a younger boy to kidnap and abuse, and Stephen was so mentally broken by them that, shockingly, he actually aided in the attempts to find one. Stephen later said that his failure to successfully kidnap anyone was down to his own deliberate sabotage. He knew what he was doing was wrong, but he was too afraid of his captors to openly defy them. In fact, Stephen was actually building up to an escape attempt, and it was the successful kidnapping of 5-year-old Timmy White that finally pushed him over the edge. On March 1st of 1980, while the lead captor was away at a night security job, Stephen took young Timmy by the hand and they hitchhiked into Ukiah. Ukiah? What about Robin? Yeah, we talked about Robin Williams. Yeah, Robin Williams, like, stage presence and, like, ability. Oh, dude, if you've ever seen him on, like, late night talk shows, Like his ability to just like captivate the audience and just pull in, you know, with all of the different characters he could just switch in and out in between. I mean, they, you know, it kind of becomes like a parody of ooh, look at me, Robin Williams, but like at the same time, like it really was fascinating, like his ability to improv and move and just be an entertaining person. Just crazy. Steven actually, in fact, Steven was building. Oh yeah, this is at Ukiah, California. Let me look that up real quick. Ukiah, sweet. See, you never know. Your aunt is watching. What's up, auntie? Which one? I have to be careful not to say any naughty words then, or she'll. So is my mom. Fuck, dude. Go away. Even though I obviously love them, I can't be having them hear me say silly things. On March 1st of 1980, while the lead captor was away at a night security job, Stephen took young Timmy by the hand and they hitchhiked into Ukiah, California to hand the young boy over to the local sheriff. Once they arrived at the department, Stephen told them everything, including how he himself was kidnapped 7 years previously. Sheriff's deputies immediately drove out to the place the two boys were being held, just in time for the man who'd taken them to arrive home from work. When they put the cuffs on him and rummaged through his pockets to locate some form of ID, the name on it read Kenneth Eugene Parnell. Kenneth was born in Texas during the Great Depression, but his mother had later moved the family out to Bakersfield, California after Kenneth's father had abandoned them. He spent much of his adolescence in and out of juvenile hall and mental institutions, and was arrested in 1951 for impersonating a police officer to abuse a young boy. He later claimed that he kidnapped and assaulted the boy because his wife was pregnant and that he had to find another outlet. Oh my gosh, Pradeep's gonna scratch the thing to get my attention. Scratch the couch and make noise. Did anyone else get Jimmy Fallon before he was cool? He does amazing voices too. Yeah, I mean, it's cool that Jimmy Fallon's got that late night talk show, but man, that's... whatever. He later claimed that he kidnapped and abused the boy because his wife was pregnant and that he, quote-unquote, had to find another outlet. Kenneth was eventually tried and convicted of kidnapping both Stephen Stainer and as well... Kenneth was eventually tried and convicted of kidnapping both Stephen Stainer as well as young Timmy White, but only ended up serving 5 years of his 7-year prison sentence. This was said to have had a terrible effect on Stephen, who believed that a truly evil man had basically gotten away with ruining his entire life. After being reunited with his family, Stephen had a great deal of trouble readjusting to normal life. In captivity, he had been severely neglected, and his birth parents were incredibly protective and overbearing in comparison. In an interview with Newsweek, which took place shortly after his escape, Stephen commented that, "I returned almost a grown man, yet my parents saw me at first as their 7-year-old. After they stopped trying to teach me all the fundamentals all over again, it got better. But why doesn't my dad hug me anymore? Everything has changed. Sometimes I blame myself. I don't know, sometimes if I should have come home. Would I have been better off if I didn't?" Stephen attended a few therapy sessions organized by his parents, but refused to discuss the abuse that he'd suffered at Kenneth Parnell's hands. What's more, his father seemed to be in complete denial, refusing to admit that Stephen might be in need of some serious psychotherapy. Stephen began to drink heavenly, Jesus. Alright, Pradeep's out of here. He's wandering away. See ya, bro. Called Let's Pradeep. What would I post on Let's Pradeep? Bo Burnham is another great stand-up. Yeah, the one that Bo did on Netflix where he was like, I don't know, it's called like Home or At Home. That shit was funny as hell. Funny as hell. Stephen began to drink heavily, and his relationship with his parents became highly strained as a result. In the end, Stephen's father kicked him out of the family home, forcing him to make his way in the world alone. By age 20, Stephen had married a young woman by the name of Jody Edmondson, and the couple would go on to have 2 children together, Ashley and Stephen Jr. Stephen made a living by working with various child abduction groups and would visit schools to discuss personal safety with the students. He joined the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and supported his family by working in a Merced, right? Merced. Yeah. Does the chat use the chilling app also? I don't know. You have to ask them. I got the wildest voice. Thank you. Wilding out. It's so funny, like when Pradeep wants pet, he'll just like fall, like he'll find a place to do it, but usually it's on a bed or a chair or something, but he'll just like roll over on his back and like look up, and it's like, it's just so cute. You can't even resist it. You can't even resist it. He joined the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and supported his family by working in a Merced pizza place. But tragically, on September 16th of 1989, Stephen was driving his motorcycle home from work when it collided with a car. He suffered catastrophic head injuries, and although EMTs rushed him to a hospital in less than an hour, he was declared dead on arrival. More than 500 people attended his funeral, and a then 14-year-old Timmy White featured as a pallbearer. Pallbearer, sorry. Pallbearer. Oh, what's up, Mega? Ever gone through a whole story with no mistakes? Yeah, once in a while, but not often, to be honest with you. Like, if it's a shorter one. But I guess it just depends. Like, sometimes I'm just, like, in the zone, you know? More than 500 people attended his funeral, and a then 14-year-old Timmy White featured as a pallbearer. It was a heart-wrenching end to Stephen's story, but the stories of Kenneth Parnell and Stephen's family were far from over. In January of 2003, Kenneth was once again arrested on abuse-related charges after trying to convince one of his caregivers to buy him a 4-year-old boy. Kenneth was almost 72 years old at this point, suffering from both diabetes and emphysema, and his extremely poor health meant he required round-the-clock nursing care in his ramshackle apartment in Berkeley, California. This caregiver was a woman by the name of Diane Stevens, and Diane was acutely aware of Kenneth's evil paths. This caregiver was a woman by the name of Diane Stevens, and Diane was acutely aware of Kenneth's, it's a hard one to say, Kenneth's. This caregiver was a woman by the name of Diane Stevens, and Diane was acutely aware of Kenneth's evil. It's like a tongue twister. Kenneth's evil past.
Oh, I'm about to dab. Dab.
Just like the emote. Oh, just say Ken's. Yeah, that's Ken's evil Ken. Like a Ken doll. Kenneth's evil past. We can do it. I believe in myself. The caregiver was a woman by the name of Diane Stevens, and Diane was acutely aware of Kenneth's evil past. As such, she immediately reported his request to the police and would eventually cooperate in setting up the sting operation that would lead to his arrest. Sorry. As such, she immediately reported his request to the police and would eventually cooperate in setting up the sting operation that would lead to his arrest. On February 9th of 2004, Kenneth was convicted of attempting to purchase a child, as well as attempted... On February 9th of 2004, Kenneth was convicted of attempting to purchase a child, as well as attempted abuse. The prosecution argued that illicit materials found in the apartment were evidence that Kenneth's intentions toward any child were criminal in nature, and as a result, Kenneth was sentenced to 25 years to life. He remained in prison until his eventual death in 2008, which apparently came about as a result of natural causes. Natural causes. Fucking hell. Ken's evil past. That sounds like a creepypasta title. Ken's evil past. Strange synchronicity going on in this chat. What do you mean? Explain yourself, demigod. Do I like Mark Normand, one of the best up-and-coming stand-up comics in my opinion? I don't think I've ever heard of Dem. He remained in prison until his eventual death in 2008, which apparently came about as a result of natural causes. Bizarrely, the only other person eviler than Kenneth turned out to be Stephen's older brother, Cary Stayner, who was said to be so affected by his brother's abuse and death that he grew up to be one of California's most notorious serial killers. In 2002, Cary was convicted of murdering 4 women between February and July of 1999 and was eventually sentenced to death for his crimes. During the sentencing hearing, Cary Stayner stunned the watching courtroom when he suddenly began sobbing. "I wish I could take it back, but I can't," he said. "I wish I could tell you why I did such a thing, but I don't even know myself. I'm so sorry. I wish there was a reason, but there isn't. It's senseless." I believe there is a reason. I believe that Stephen's kidnapping and abuse at the hands of Kenneth Parnell had a ripple effect on those who surrounded the case. All that senseless torment, pain, and neglect echoed back on Cary, who simply reflected it all back onto a world that he didn't understand. I'm not saying Cary is totally blameless for his actions, as there are undoubtedly of pure evil. But without his brother's kidnap, without the deep sorrow it imposed on his family, maybe Cary wouldn't have sought out those poor women whose lives he snatched away. That is weird. It's just like abuse begets abuse, and it's just an endless cycle of just evil. It's just weird. It's crazy. Joel was an extra on the set of Braveheart. Braveheart. I was one of the guys that mooned the enemy. I pulled up my kilt and mooned the enemy, but then they shot an arrow directly into my ass hole. Gigi Allen? PB and J. That sounds pretty good right now. All right, my friends. Well, we have arrived at the end of the stream. Is this actually live? Yes, David. Hello, hello. Do I like K-pop? You know, I don't really know much of it. I like J-pop, and I like music. So maybe there's some songs in the K-pop world that I would enjoy. But the only thing I really know about K-pop is that their fans will die for them and will kill anybody who makes fun of them. And if you say K-poop, it'll slit your throat instantly. I probably shouldn't have said it because someone's gonna be busting my door down any second. I'm arriving. Listen to 17. They my favorite K-pop group. Cool. I jot down. You know what? I'm gonna do that. I jotted down Joey Diaz, Richard Pryor. Now I'm gonna jot down. What are they called? 17. It's a K-pop group. K-pop. K-pop. What do you listen to? I listen to K-pop. You like Pop-Tart? Is that the same as K-pop? Yeah, pretty much. K-Pop-Tart. Oh, that would be a good mashup. They should get sponsored. Was it like BTS or whatever? I always sleep to your videos in the background. I have no clue you do live. Oh yeah, I do. Every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, I narrate the stories on live stream. I record them. The ones that'll be out the next day. But I need you guys right now to think of something funny so I can end as I read the outro script. You recommend Mark Normand. Okay, is that K-pop? That'd be so funny, just like in the middle of all of these like K-pop artists and stuff, like there's just a K-pop artist named Mark Normand. Okay, I've written it down. It would be also funny if he's on Twitter to like tag him and say, Mark, you're my favorite K-pop artist. Create a playlist and share the link. Q, love your music recommendations. Oh yeah. You know, yeah, usually I share them on Twitter every once in a while. Playing with Day Worm. Alright, and remember, always go Will Smith on live TV. Yeah, right. And remember, don't make fun of my wife. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the description below, friends. Thanks so much. And oh yeah, and keep my name out your mouth. That's a good one, actually. I'll do that one. Links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, keep my name out your mouth. Well, I feel like that's a bit threatening. I just like end the video by like threatening my audience. Thanks so much, friends. And don't keep your head on a swivel, 'cause I'm fucking coming. Keep my wife's name out your mouth. I'll say it. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, keep my wife's name out your mouth. I feel like you gotta say out your mouth. Like, you can't say out of your mouth. Keep my wife's name out of your mouth. Do not consume it. Do not chew on it. Do not taste the name. You like to be threatened. Oh, Chris Rock, more like Chris Rocked. It would have been really funny though. Like, how funny would it have been if like Chris Rock like fought back and they just started fighting on stage? That's what I would have liked that way more. Like an actual, you know, senior citizen brawl. Both of them would have pulled a fucking hamstring almost instantly. I mean, I would have pulled a hamstring too, but whatever. Oh, well, my friends, thank you so much for another amazing stream and being great people and having fun. I appreciate it. Appreciate you. As always, this will be out on Patreon, early access, only $1 a month over there after I get it edited, and then it will be up on YouTube at 7 p.m. EST. So be ready, because I'm coming for you. Anyways, love you guys. Appreciate you. Stay well. Get some sleep. Stay warm if you're in a cold place. And stay cool if you're in a hot place. It's that simple, guys. All right? See ya.